Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Pradan Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udahantam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupa Agrajata Sahagana Raghunatam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatam Parijanatam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Shri Vishakhantam Namo Vishwapadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niramane Namaste Saraswati Devi Prachati Nirvishesha Shantade Satale Namo Vishwapadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Devi वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्याय नामिने गौरक्षे नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश अकांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू सुधीर गोपाल Ru for your kind words. I know many of you are much better. Many of you are practicing. In fact, when we come to Bangalore, we see so much expansion of preaching. So much. Is the voice audible? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So keep it in middle. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
You can hear. Fine. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Audible? Hare Krishna. As I was saying that we come to Bangalore, we see there is so much preaching going on. It's quite inspiring, expanding so many different centers, so many different devotees or newcomers getting opportunity. to see wonderful devotees practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely. It's a very joyous occasion and gathering of such devotees. Because when we come together to when we come together to discuss, it is actually like churning. It's even when the demigods, or rather even the demons, wanted the nectar, both of them were advised, and they did a pact. Sort of, they got an agreement to, in order to get nectar, even the demons were ready to side with the demigods.
Here, please.
Well, uh, it's not good for me to say that. Those who are intelligent can understand. But you see, even those who are, as we say, arch rivals, but when they have some common cause, they can come together. Prabhuji gave me the topic of building synergy in Grihastha Ashram, which is the subtopics are nurturing togetherness is one part, embracing responsibility, and balance of duty and love. Right? So I didn't plan for this. It was just we're talking about even arch rivals can come together for a common cause. Generally, when we get married, we are not like that. We may become like that. Eventually, someday, sometimes it happens. One day we feel, I can't live without you. And some other day we feel, मैंने नहीं बोला. Isn't it such a extreme pendulum journey that we go through in family lives? Because it's a lot of emotions involved. Sometimes we are very obsessed with happiness. Happiness is not the only thing that we should want in life. Okay. Reva, what is your favorite sweet?
Modak.
Modak. How many can you eat? 2, 3. Very honest. And if I give 10, will you like? Now this is for others to understand. She likes modak. She can eat. She has a capacity of 2 or 3. If 10, what she likes, the same one, if we get in, what do you call, more quantity, abundance, can we appreciate that? That's how happiness also will be. Happiness is not the only quality or only, not even a quality, it's an emotion, mind sort of satisfaction or something that we're seeking for. Sometimes we're so obsessed with it that we feel this is what I have to achieve. And there are various emotions, in fact, rasas, like how Sri Rupa Goswami Pad explains about the science of mellows in devotional service. 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. It makes the relationship very holistic. We are trying to look only for just happiness. But actually, when we go through the different ranges or different flavors, like different flavors of an ice cream, different flavors give different taste. It's not that only happiness is required in our lives. Just like in a plate of prasadam. It's not that I need only protein. Not that only one thing. We need a wholesome. To make it wholesome, I need all rice, dal, sabji, chapati. Similarly, even from an emotional perspective, we need a range of emotions. But unfortunately, we feel we are like sort of trained or taught, or maybe the bombardment of the society or the social media is only happiness. Which are the photographs that we share on social media or Facebook, Insta, or whatever else people are on? Which are the pictures? And that's what the social media is bombarding. As if, and we start believing in it, as if it looks as if the whole world is happy, except it should not become like that 5 paise circus. Bhaktivedanta Thakur will give the story of the 5 paise circus. People go to the circus, and when they are coming out, they are asked a feedback. How was it? Actually, when the person is coming out and giving a feedback, he says, "Wonderful, amazing. It's a lifetime experience." And it's really a lifetime experience. The other person gets excited. Oh, really? And then he goes in. He says, and then inside there is a huge, bodybuilder, standing there saying, "What have you come here for?" I said, "I was told there's a 5 paise circus. I'm entering. I've already paid and I'm entering inside." And what? And then he calls him and gives him left and right, and black and blue is beaten up. But then when he's going out, the next person is asking him, "How was it?" Fantastic. Lifetime experience. You'll never forget in your life. True. The statements that he's making is true, but the purport is different. People only are hearing the translation, are not able to understand the purport behind it. And we get swayed away. So we feel happiness, we feel smiling, all that. But actually, life is meant to go through various different emotions. When we accept that, we will not learn, we will not be obsessed with happiness. We will accept life as it comes. How many of us complain when it is winter season? We are waiting for summer. As if in summer we feel when summer comes, and then when rainy season comes, they're not able to go out. Children are not able to go to play outside. That means the Lord is asking, should I create a new season for you? Earlier there used to be 6, which in the age of Kali has already settled down to 3. And even in this 3, I think yesterday afternoon there was a little drizzle. We were in the winter season, but still we are getting something. It's all getting mixed up, isn't it? In abroad, it's quite mixed up. In the same day, you can experience all 3 seasons: summer, winter, and rainy. All that you can. So India is not so bad. India is still, in terms of climate, it's better. But still, all these things getting mixed up. So if we complain for each of these, then the Lord will feel as if, which one do you want to get satisfied? We have to learn to get satisfied. Satisfaction is not something that you can purchase outside. That's why satisfaction is not something which is a owner's only product only for the rich. It's not a commodity only for the rich person. Even a poor person can be extremely satisfied. Sometimes you see children playing with, even if they don't have toy, sometimes they are playing with stones, or any, just they are playing in the mud, they are playing in the waters. They can be just satisfied. They don't. Not everybody needs extravaganza, or something very modern equipment or something in order to get satisfaction. Similarly, in the journey, as we were saying, when arch rivals can come together, what to speak of people who are intending to come together, to start a journey in life. Right? We are intending to come together. to stay together throughout the life. We have seen small children sometimes, I'm not sure if it happens still in the city life, but generally in the village life or little, you see sometimes a child is playing with one tire, one cycle tire. He'll have a little stick, and then he's playing with it. I mean, it's a useless tire. I mean, from the perspective of cycle, it's a sort of, uh, it's like, kela khali and chilka, like, what do you say that? Leftover, left remnants of the cycle. But he's playing happily. So with that single tire is like when we are a bachelor. Some bachelors are wondering. I hope all are married here. Or huh? Yeah, the one who's smiling more is are yet to taste. So I am comparing that to not yet married. It's single tire, single. What is the difficulty? I mean, the child is happy, but I'm trying to talk from the perspective of marriage and coming further in terms of responsibility and all. The difficulty is you have to run along with the tire. How much over the tire travels, it's like you are running along with the tire. You are not riding on the vehicle. You are actually walking or practically running. So when we get married, it is like a proper bike having, there are two tires now. The single has become double, two tires. Now, for the equipment to function properly, it is essential to have sync. The two tires should be in sync. It's a very basic uh, utility purpose itself. Another thing, it should be in a working condition. Each tire has its value. If one tire says, I have enough air, and if the other one doesn't have, it's a problem. Each one also has to be stable. Each one also has to be in a working condition. And both have to be in sync for the vehicle to proceed ahead. If the tires are not in sync, then actually we don't go anywhere. The scriptures usually give the example of the horses, chariot, right? Five horses. If the five horses want to go in different directions, what will happen? Passenger reaches before the horses. If it all goes in different directions. So in a vehicle, what is expected is there should be some sync. The two wheels have to be in sync. Now, when you're talking about synergy, it's beyond even sync. Sync is harmony. It's like you have some keyboard, the different keys, they have to be played in harmony, or different musical instruments. Then there will be an, what do you call that? Orchestra. There is one person who simply, people who see that may not be able to understand. He's simply waving like this. But then, according to that, piano starts, no harmonium starts, mridangam starts, and all that is happening. Harmony. Synergy is even much beyond, not beyond even just thinking together. Because synergy is 1 plus 1 is equal to, our scriptures give some mathematical calculations. Or Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avasishyate. What is that? 1 minus 1? Our scriptures are saying 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. Similarly, 1 plus 1 has a potential to become 11. And 1 plus 1 has a potential to become minus 2 also, depending on how we are coming together. What is the meaning of minus 2? Imagine a bike where the person is sitting on the handle wala and other person is sitting ulta, and both are trying to ride in two different directions. Sync means at least the two wheels have to be in sync together. Similarly, two hearts have to come together. Two hearts have to be in sync. We are not talking about hands, heads. We are talking about hearts. In the companies, in the corporates also, people are struggling to do this. Earlier, they wanted only hands. Hands means only execution. Get things done. We need helping hands, they would say. Then they realized hands are not sufficient because the person only does whatever is told and then he leaves. But we need somebody to give some innovative ideas. We need somebody to give some ideas which can help the company increase its promotion and growth. And it's just our, he doesn't even give his mind. We need somebody to, yeah, pranay arthair, yeah, intelligence. Can we do intelligence? How can we expand? How can we get more profit? Talking from corporate perspective. Finally, they are able to realize hands is the lowest level of cooperation that we can get. Heads is good. At the same time, multiple ideas can come and they also can clash and so many things can happen. And some ideas are good, some have to be scrapped, some have to be kept on hold, some have to be kept on parking also, depending on we don't have resources or for various different reasons. But the final thing that they are coming to understand is we need people's heart. Heads is better, hands are better, or head is better, or heart is better. Heart. But then we have heard that monkey and the crocodile story. We keep our heart when we go to the company. We keep our heart with Jagannath, with our deities at home, and then we just go there, put our hands, do the needful. But I'm trying to say, even corporates are realizing it's not sufficient to simply get hands. Better is to get heads, and even more better is actually the most crucial thing is to actually get the heart. That means the person is willing to do something voluntarily and wanting to increase the promotions. If we apply this in family life, how much one can actually benefit. So 1 plus 1 can become even minus 2 when both have different priorities. Different priorities. When both have different goals. When both have different aspirations. Which is why, at least for those who are not yet married, you still have some time where you can think about in terms of are we having some compatibility? And for those whom it's already too late, Prabhupada says it's never too late. Even from taking to devotional service, Prabhupada says in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says that even for an old person, if he takes up the spiritual life, it's never too late. Even a dying man, he can take up to what devotional service. Whatever is available within our resources and uh, within our limited availability of time, we can think about in terms of compatibility. Can think about how to how to come to at least some midpoint. If you have different goals, different aspirations, different. Just imagine if just newly married and they are discussing about destinations, and one says one wants to go to a holy place, and one wants to go to London, Hollywood. You can imagine what will happen. What will happen? Because aspirations, goals, desires, hmm, different. So one level is sync. For working relation, at least we need to be in sync. That's what usually things happens when there are some guests coming. When some guest comes to home, then we pause our existing existing routine. We say अभी वरिष्ठ भक्त आए हैं, अभी गेस्ट आए हैं, उनके सामने बच्चों को पहले समझाते हैं, देखो हम खुद एडजस्ट कर लेंगे, लेकिन आपको अच्छे से बर्ताव करना है, जब आएंगे तो पानी देना है, पूछना है, 2 मिनट बैठना है, ये बात करना है, उसके बाद चले जाओ, इतना ही करना है, एंड उसके बाद मैं आपको टॉफी दूंगी, ऑल दैट. We are trying to expect something from the children. And as far as the elders are concerned, husband and wife, then we may feel just a matter of one day. And we are not canceling the fight. All we are doing is, it's just a pause. मिलेंगे ब्रेक के बाद. इसी समय मिलेंगे फिर ब्रेक के बाद. ये सब. But if we actually try to work on, if we are anyway staying together, I can tell you an example. Sometimes when we were in the ashram days, when we had a lot of affinity for hearing, we were like Bhagavatam classes going on, we were like wanting to hear. And in those days, there was very less devotees, and uh, we know our ISKCON setup. No, I mean, at least I'm not sure of how it is now. In those days, when we used to have subjugating, that would also come in the temple hall, and then all those who are sitting for hearing the Bhagavatam class. Sometimes somebody will tap from the back. Oh, जी, थोड़ा थोड़ा सा पीछे आ जाओ. And then some services had to be done. So in those days, we would sometimes script, like we want to hear, we have come to hear Bhagavatam, and we are being called for services. Sometimes it happens much later. That Bhagavatam class is going on, and sometimes we're looking for, is there some subjugating seva? Because the taste has dwindled. We may try to reconcile it by saying, now I can cut and hear also. It's good if we can, and it's good if there is a need for it, but our taste should not dwindle. Whether we are hearing exclusively or whether we are doing it simultaneously.
So, as Prabhuji was talking about the need to come together as Grihasthas. So, a lot of points, very beautiful, profound points Prabhuji shared. So, I was just wondering, many of the couples sitting here in the audience, many are new faces to us. Some of them are as old as 2 decades to us. So, those are also, I mean, there's quite a range here, you know. So, even the old devotees, whether new devotees or old grihasthas, new grihasthas, as I made a very beautiful point about relationships, it can't be of just one rasa. Like even Krishna, when he's experiencing different pastimes with his devotees, he involves all the 12 rasas, the 5 primary and the 7 secondary. So recently I was quoting in one of our forums, GPTC, Girls Preachers Training Course, that many a times we talk a lot about the lofty subject matters of the most simplest concepts like cooperation, trust. इतना ही क्या विश्वास रखा आपने मेरा, इतना ही भरोसा दिखाया आपने मुझ पे, इसी हो गया क्या, बस क्या, इतना ही क्या, you know, I mean, we just use those words so casually, but rarely do we know what it means to cooperate. Barely do we know what trust means. Hardly do we know what is relationship. As Prabhuji rightly said, relationship is not happiness hunting. Relationship involves a lot of other things. If Krishna is ready to embrace the 7 other rasas, which involves vibhatsa, what else? Vibhatsa, bhaya, adbhuta, hasya, krodha, then who are we to ask for a relationship that is not, you know, comprising of all these things? So relationships are not just mere rendezvous. No, we know we used to have the rendezvous, romantic imagination, hallucination. So similarly, relationships are not just rendezvous, you know, and even cooperation, it's not just a mere concept. Cooperation is not just a mere concept, it's conscious cultivation day to day. Trust is not a treaty alone, it's self-training. हमें दूसरों के भरोसे की बात करते हैं, बट हमें तो पहले खुद पे ट्रेनिंग करना होता है. You have to earn the trust of others, not that you keep questioning how much others trust you. Right? So cooperation is not just a mere concept, it's conscious cultivation. Similarly, trust is not alone a treaty, it's self-training. And the last one, relationships are not mere rendezvous, but they're refining roller coaster rides. What is a roller coaster? All kinds of experiences, and we want, as Prabhuji said, happiness. Right? So, firstly, we should never have ideal understanding, like my Prabhuji used to always tell me in the beginning days, why are you so utopian situated? सब चीज का यूटोप, हस्बैंड मतलब ऐसा होना चाहिए, वाइफ मतलब ऐसी होनी चाहिए, बच्चे मतलब, nothing is going to come the way you expect it to be. Right? So there is nothing utopian as such in life. You have to create it. It doesn't come automatically. Cooperation has to be cultivated day to day. Trust has to be earned day to day by training oneself. Similarly, relationships have to be endured through the refining roller coaster rides, because they refine you with every right experience. कभी ऊपर, कभी नीचे, कभी आगे, कभी पीछे. You know, they refine you through their experiences, and that's what relationships are meant to be. So that's the first. And second, as Prabhuji was sharing about the tire, you know, single tire, double tire, the harmony, the sync, and the synergy. So many a times when we get married, we all come together with different samskaras that we have accumulated over the lifetimes. With that mindset, when we come together, and here suddenly we have got a lofty goal of, you know, going back home, back to Godhead, surrendering to the mission of Srila Prabhupada, extending and giving your lives and offering your lives to the, you know, lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, spiritual master. These are all, you know, ideal aspirations that we have, and barely on the ground level, what are we struggling with? Bas kya, itna hi kya. This is what we are struggling with, you know. Is this what your love is for me? You can't go and pick up my parents. You can't take care of, you know, I am struggling whole day. You can't go and drop our son to the cricket match. One day if I'm not cooking a breakfast is all, you know, this is what you give me. So here they're talking about what? Surrender, offering our lives. And we are so piteously affected by one breakfast missed, one थोड़ा सा किसी का आवाज ऊंचा हो गया, पति हो, पत्नी हो, जो भी हो, थोड़ा सा responsibility का ज्यादा हो गया. Where are we? We are here. And our mission is to go up, to rise. That's why these trainings are very, very important. Whether we are old, whether we are seasoned, whether we are new, whether we are fresh to the whole playground of relationships, these trainings really help. And while we were sitting here, I was remembering how many of these trainings we have attended, we both. Because it's Guru Shishya Parampara. It doesn't come that, we are just coming and sitting here. And not that we are sharing only for you. We ourselves also need, our quota of training, which we keep getting time to time. And it's only because we have attended our seniors training. Like my counselor, Kishori Mataji, when we just newly got married, she came to our home in Pune and she said, she spent a lot of time with both of us, she and Shridham Prabhu. And by leaving the home, they said, Yugal Priya, I'm sharing all these things with you because we have already made these mistakes. We have already made these mistakes. You can save your time by not repeating them. So then I came back home and I told my prabhuji, Mataji ने बोला है, उन्होंने already ये mistakes किए हैं, तो हमें वो mistake नहीं करनी चाहिए. So his sarcasm, so he said, इसका मतलब हम नए mistakes कर सकते हैं. Don't waste your time. See, because the acharyas have already invented the wheel. Why do we want to reinvent the wheel? So, like back in Pune, the devotees from our group, they keep telling us, like it's very clear. We fight. We both also fight quite a lot, but it's mostly for others. In most of our cases, we don't have kids. I mean, we tried, we did not get by Lord's mercy, and we have dirtied our lives accordingly. But most of us kids, right? So when we have kids, it's others who are always the cause of the fights. Right? So the entire group is like, Mataji, आप हमारे लिए क्यों लड़ते हो? मैंने कहा और किसके लिए लड़ूं? Right? So it's not that we don't fight or So when Prabhuji said that let's not repeat the same mistakes means what? Grow enough to contribute in others' life and fight for their cause. Do not fight for still one's own lacunas. Right? But this also doesn't come easy. There's an evolution that everybody goes through in life. As I said, everybody comes with their own samskaras. So there's an evolution that everyone goes through. And when two people come together, those samskaras come together. Right? And we have to understand. So clarity, association, consultation, all this is very, very important. The regular training part, if we lack something, because एक बार बोलने से समझ में नहीं आता है, कई बार 10 बार बोलना पड़ता है. Right? बच्चे हो, हम हो. So these trainings are very, very important. So even if we are old, new, जो भी हो हम, but जितना हम इसको सुनेंगे, उतना हम उसको अपने जीवन में उतार पाएंगे, which is absolutely necessary. So please do not underestimate any sort of trainings because our soul always needs it. Our mind, intelligence, and hearts must have heard it for n number of times, but we are always on the graph of learning, on the curve of learning. So firstly, this is what I wanted to share, that do not have utopian expectations of happiness hunt. Second, that we all come from different kinds of samskaras. So when two people come together, definitely there's going to be a difference, but work towards it to make better. And as he said that let's not make the same mistakes. So when somebody is training or sharing something, some mistakes, do not do this, do not do this, why repeat the same? Let's do something else so that at least we become one step further, right? We go one step further. So that is synergy. It's not just thinking in, that chalo tu bhi idhar, tu bhi idhar. No, we stay together. How? One in one room, the other in other room. Like I remember Vibhav Krishna Prabhu from Shishadripuram temple, his daughter Veda, we are very close friends. We were close friends when I was in Bangalore here. She was one of the teenagers. She's got married now, based in Dallas, doing a lot of service there. Her husband is serving Prabhupada disciples directly. So I met Harsha Mataji in the morning, Harsha Rani Mataji, and it just reminded me, that they used to always tell us, that Krishna consciousness means that you have to keep learning. There's always a graph that keeps going high and high and high. So we should never forget. So her Veda's husband, when she got engaged, I was in Shishadipuram temple back then. There was only one temple in Bangalore. So we were washing hands after prasad. So she introduced me to her fiancé, saying, "Mataji, this is my to-be husband." And we were like, I still remember we were washing plates and just about to rinse our mouth. And he said, and Veda told her fiancé that this is Yugal Priya Mataji, and she's married for 5 years. And her husband, to be husband, was like, "Wow, congratulations." I was like, what's there to congratulate? And then I mean, he got that staring look from me. And Veda was like, "Do not become surprised. All he means is that in abroad, 5 years is a long time, you know." Right? So we Indians, we are like, for us, even 50 is less. Like in same again, Shidam Kishori Mataji used to tell us, when we initially get married, we are like two separate entities coming together. At the end of 15, 20 years of evolution of our relationships, we become more of friends than husband and wife. 5 roles that a wife plays to a husband. So one of them is a friend role. Right? So Shidam Prabhu Kishori Mataji used to tell me, अब तो हम भाई बहन ज्यादा लगते हैं एक दूसरे को. Very openly they would tell, the bhai bhai means they're so close to each other now that they've become one in goal. So another aspect when our announcement was happening in Gopinath temple just before marriage in front of Maharaj. So they announced in Chowpatty mein, I mean, I'm from Chowpatty, but he is from Pune. So people were asking, "Kidhar hai, kidhar hai, kidhar hai?" So after the Sunday feast, everybody was trying to see where is he. So I'm trying to spot him amongst the, crowd of men. Wo prabhuji hai. So many seniors came to me and said, "Oh, क्या हुआ माताजी?" So she said, "तुम दोनों तो भाई बहन लगते हो." मैंने कहा, "माताजी, please, I'm getting married to him." But over the years, I then that Mataji pacified me saying, no, what it means is your hearts, when saat janam ka saat jo bolte hai na, that means what? You live with the person so much, as he rightly said, not just the hands, not just the heads, but even the hearts become one. When the hearts become one, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu keeps talking about Rup Sanatan, keeps talking about Sanatan and Haridas, that they are two bodies and one soul. Right? That's the relationship that we intend to, get to. So that's what marriage is supposed to lead to. And by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy, all that one intent we have is to serve Guru and Krishna and Vaishnavas. Right? So that evolution, that journey in relationship of married life helps us. If we are settled and stable in married life, we can think of something other, something higher. But if you're not settled, not stabilized in our married life itself, how are we going to do something more to the society? We are busy solving our own problems. Like by now, my mother-in-law, when she started staying with us just after 1 year of our marriage, and she used to see, us, like I said, we keep having polar apart opinions. So she's like, one day she started crying, "तुम लोग इतना क्यों झगड़ा करते हो?" And we were like, "Mummy, we are discussing काउंसिल मीटिंग कब खत्म करना चाहिए, 7 बजे की 7:30 बस, और कुछ नहीं हुआ है." I am worried kids have to eat prasad and rush, and he is worried like they have to, the adults have to get the end-to-end katha. So she was like, "Oh really? I thought you both are fighting." And I said, "No." Right? Within the service to Vaishnavas, we have polls about opinions. But it's all for others. When can we afford to do that? When we have, जब हमने हमारा खुद का account settle कर लिया. When we have handled our own compatibility, our own frequencies, that's when we can contribute in others' lives. And that's most of in our lives is our children. It begins with children. Then it gets to the other, counselees or whatever your Bhakti Vriksha members or Satsanga, as I can see many new faces. So if you want to serve others, be very selfish, very, very selfish. To first settle in the sense, I'm not saying you should have a 100% perfect, picture perfect, no, or relationship perfect, no, but try your best to cooperate consciously, to trust as a part of the training, give benefit of doubt, and third, expect the amount of ups and downs that any relationship would go through. And that's when you can actually make a difference in others' lives.
Hare Krishna. When she was talking about we want to offer our lives to Guru and Krishna, but in house sometimes we want to take each other's lives. Thinking that we can offer it to Krishna.
Our offering to Krishna. Patram Pushpam Phalam Patni Pati.
Actually, it's like it is said, even team means together we achieve, everyone
Each one achieves more.
achieves more. Together each one achieves more. So team does not necessarily mean only a team of 10 people or 20 people. A team can be even of 2 people. As a couple, the team actually can go beyond our individual potentials. That's what exactly the word synergy would actually mean. We have some strengths, other person has some strengths. In fact, there is what do you call complementing. For example, say in the train, 3-seater. So suppose we two have 2 seats and one another person has another seat. So somebody is already sitting there. If it is a male, then in the second seat I can sit, then she can be here. If it is a female who is already sitting, then she can sit in the second seat, I can sit here. Adjustable, complementing. Similarly about strengths and weaknesses. What we may be good at, it may be other person's weakness. And what they are good at, it might be our weakness. If we focus on each other's weakness, we don't function at all. And if we focus on each other's strengths, we have double strength, right? We have double the strength. Although my strength, my capacity is this, whatever, some frequency, some measure, but to add the other person's strength to us, that's what we are talking about as synergy. Other person's strength we can take, and the weakness we will have to learn to deal with it. Now, when we say the weakness we have to learn to deal with, it means sometimes ignore, sometimes ignore, sometimes tolerate, sometimes tolerate, sometimes understand this is the reality. This is reality. And most important, accept that I also have my part of weakness. But we are focusing so much on the other person's weakness as if we have come from a utopian world. So sometimes neglect, sometimes ignore, and sometimes we have to tolerate that. How many of us, like sometimes the spiritual master also tells, when some senior devotees go to the spiritual master and says, it's so difficult to handle these devotees. Maharaj says, even I have difficulty handling you.
So Maharaj said, you tolerate them the way I tolerate you. It's a very serious thing. Sometimes we think only the other partner is tolerating, or only I am tolerating the other partner, right? So it's not like that. Everyone is tolerating someone or the other.
So once we are married, we have to accept, acknowledge, and embrace this one important sutra. It's no more I. I becomes we. It's no more I. I becomes we. Many times we would say we means I mean. It's like we may have a habit of saying, I have no problem, but the other person, I'm not sure. So after marriage, it is we, which basically means we have to include, and as per other person's strength or weakness, we have to present ourselves as a unit. In a sports match, it's like a mixed doubles, one unit together. So this principle or this consciousness can make a lot of difference in our day-to-day functioning. Just changing it from I to we, whether it is looking for a rented house or searching to purchase a own house. If only one partner sees everything and informs the other partner, I have seen all the parameters. It's a good rate, good deal we are getting. Done. Other partner, what will the other partner feel?
Cheated.
What will the other partner feel?
Cheated.
I'm expecting something from here. Huh? No inclusion. Okay. Not valued. You're married? Yes. Good. Very nice. Not valued. Not why not consulted? Why my opinion was not taken? Are you going to stay alone? If we are going to stay together, then should we not see it together? Should we not consult each other? You may have sometimes we may one partner may see from finance perspective, and the other partner may see from space perspective. One partner may see from program perspective. घर में program करेंगे. And the other person says, let us at least live together first. So we may have differences of opinions. At least it's important something to be consulted, valued for. Otherwise, the other person feels neglected and left. We are just given. It's like giving an FYI for your information. So togetherness, we are talking about nurturing togetherness, which is we are talking the simple sutra is from I to we. The thought process, if it changes, it's no more just I. It's like, for example, if we have to invite guests, if we tell to the guest, see, I am extremely happy to invite you, but my spouse, so extremely sorry. Well, if you want to say no as a common unit, it might be a good excuse, but this is not a proper etiquette also. We may say, I am healthy, but she is sick currently. And because of, in fact, if we say like this, we are actually valuing the other person. We are actually valuing for what they are going through. I would love to invite you, but we are going through this difficulty, this rough patch. No, instead of this week, if it's possible, we can accommodate you next week. Whatever adjustments we can do. There is a discussion. But most importantly is involving both partners. Involvement of both partners for crucial subject matters for landmark decisions is extremely important. We just spoke about uh, searching for a common house. Similarly, it can be applied for a job purpose. It can be applied for various different events or things where both need to be consulted. If we are inviting a guest, the wife should not get a shock. The guest directly comes and the wife is किससे मिलना है? The guest says, well, prabhuji invited me. Oh, really? Then she makes a call. बुलाया क्या? Let me confirm. Yes, told feeling. There is no think. Then the husband says, actually, I invited him in the morning and I was going to tell you, but I forgot. सुनाई नहीं दे रहा पीछे? आपको थोड़ा लेट रियलाइज हुआ. So it's important to accept that I to we both have to be in sync. Otherwise, we have to cut a sorry figure in front of others. And it's not just an awkward and embarrassing moment in front of others. It means there is no practical relations amongst ourselves. Like that. Similarly, marriage is not just an event. Marriage, most of us, before getting married, it's like people may have so many, I would say, dreams or aspirations. So, destination weddings. We are more worried about the place, the resort, or what is the location about, and how many are invited, and how much menu, and how much grand the celebrations are, ceremonies are, all that. Marriage is not just a event; it is a lifetime journey. That day comes and goes. It's like, can we say it's like an initiation? Initiation is just a beginning. Sometimes when we get initiation, we feel as if it's a trophy. We have achieved it. We have made it. But the very word initiation means it's beginning. From now onwards, we can officially accumulate more and more or whatever is required for our journey to further together. So we can be conscious that it is not just an event, it's a lifetime journey. When you say lifetime journey means, like if you have to walk a short distance, we may go alone. If you want to walk a long distance, it is advisable to be together, to have some company. Single person gets, after some time, gets tired very easily. But there is a company. Company means not our professional company. When we have a partner, then, and if we have good relations with our partner, then सफर जो है अच्छे से कट जाता है, आसानी से कट जाएगा. And suffer में suffering is inevitable. It's not that it may come. It will come. And while we are going together, if we have good company, it is easier. So it's not just staying together, as she was also sharing that. It's not like staying in the hostel, just staying in the same place physically. We need, that's why they said sometimes it's good to have at least one meal together. It's good to have at least one meal together. Once a year?
Once a day.
Once a day. This phrase is better than one apple a day. Keeps a man healthy, right? One meal a day keeps our marriage life healthy, wealthy, and wise. Huh? At least healthy. Keeps our marriage life healthy. One meal a day. See, there are Matajis who are much more senior and they are relishing this. One meal a day, we cannot imagine what difference it can make. Of course, there are some little disclaimers. If that one meal a day is watching something together once in a while is also okay for a light moments. And that one meal a day, there should be some room for discussion of the day's events. When we say at least one meal a day, so that at least we are reminded once a week at least. If it misses every day, at least once in 2 days. If it misses that once in 3 days, at least a week. We should feel that. Not that when everybody is taking on their own. It's like hostel, that's how it happens. Somebody comes at this time, somebody comes a little later time, they take their meals and pack their tiffin. And it's not that prasadam is ready and you take your meals and take your dabba and push off. But one meal together, if there are some discussions, it's not necessary that every day there has to be some issue to discuss. When issues are there, then there is no discussion. Usually it starts with hot, then it becomes cold, but the war is common. So we have to ensure if it is possible, because sometimes we may have to discuss over issues, and sometimes one of the spouse wants to just share, and one gender has to understand every time we don't have to be ready with some instant 2-minute solutions. Sometimes they just want us to, half the problems will be solved simply by giving an oral reception. Yasyam Vaishruyamanayam. That's why Krishna has given us 2 years, at least 1 year.
So how do we practice this togetherness in our day-to-day life? As Prabhuji mentioned, the importance about togetherness. I would like to again quote my mother-in-law about it. So we moved to our new house after our Grah Pravesh, and it was a day of a Saturday. And my mother-in-law was of a bit opinion from the Tamil background कि Saturday को हमारे यहाँ कुछ करते नहीं है. But because it was a day of, it was Radharaman's appearance day, and it was Pula Dola, many very, I think वसंत कुछ तो था कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी, ऐसे बहुत सारे अच्छे दिन थे. विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर, श्रीनिवास आचार्य था. मैं कहा ये best day, इसी दिन करेंगे. So we went by our Gauriya calendar auspiciousness. And Saturday we had our Vastu, and Sunday we fought for 3 hours. Personal issues we fought. So my mother-in-law came and said, "See, I told you." नजर लग गई, So I mean, fine. So वो सब हुआ, but in that fight, when we really fought, like hard fight, my mother-in-law came to me and she actually went to him first, and she said, जिस घर में स्त्री खुश नहीं होती है उस घर में प्रॉस्पेरिटी नहीं होती. Now this does not mean स्त्री बोले आसमान तोड़ के लाओ तो ही मैं खुश हो जाऊंगी. This means the basic expectation of happiness, okay, the mutual happiness concept. And then she came to me and she said, जिस घर में पुरुष को रिस्पेक्ट नहीं मिलता है वो स्त्री कितना भी कुछ भी कर ले कभी खुश नहीं रह सकती. So this was such a beautiful statement my mother-in-law said to me, and I felt this kept our marriage very safe, because she laid the foundation, right. And that was 8 years after our marriage, but still it was very, very profound. And this taught us that in day-to-day life we have to practice this respect, and we have to practice those conscious endeavors to keep each other happy. Please, I'll repeat this. This is very important. Many a times in the hustle bustle of duties and responsibilities and services, we forget that we are firstly supposed to keep each other happy, and then the whole world. Right? Because if our priority is to keep each other happy, then we together can deal with the whole world.
Charity, but we start outside.
You wonder घर पे क्यों इतनी तंगी है? right? So please begin, because as Sudhir Gopal Prabhu reminded me of that incident of, Pocha and all, I don't even remember it, but then it is so profound, that why that struck so instantly to me, because you can't be one thing at home, the other outside. Even if at home, like we said about this, Pocha, jaise maine Prabhuji ko pucha ki, if not the program, will you fight like this? That mujhe de do pocha, mujhe de do pocha. But in our house, in the early days, when like as a wife, I would want him to sit, I would want my mother-in-law to sit, and then I will make hot dosas, which is common in Bangalore. My mother-in-law would say, "Nahi, tum dono baitho, main banati hu." And then he will say, "No, I love to make dosas, tum dono baitho, main banati hu." तो पहले तो मैं डोसा बन के ठंडा होके सब खत्म हो जाता था. So I would tell him कि पहला अगर होगा, जहाँ पे कोई बोल रहा है पहले तुम बैठो मैं डोसा बनाता हूँ, पहले तुम बैठो मैं डोसा बनाता हूँ. Right? So we need to have those kinds of fights where we respect each other so much that whether we're outside, because we would do this, he would do this even outside. Right? So at home also, he does the same thing. Similarly, at home, जब कोई झाड़ू मार रहा है तो चाहे मदर इन लॉ हो, फादर इन लॉ हो, बच्चे हो, हस्बैंड हो, वाइफ हो, हस्बैंड भी झाड़ू मार सकते हैं, नथिंग रॉन्ग इन इट. फर्स्ट टाइम आई how was I not the wife? Men are so smart.
मैंने तो कुछ बोला भी नहीं.
प्रभाव काफी है.
एनर्जी जितने बैठे हैं. This is once a while.
So this kind of togetherness where we respect each other in day-to-day life, right? And we make those conscious efforts to make the spouse happy. We have to make those efforts. Otherwise, we cannot serve longer together happily, right? So this togetherness can be practiced in our day-to-day life in three ways: accept, respect, and adapt. You have to adapt to the situations. But before I delve on this, I would like to share some foundational principles of togetherness, which comes to me as dependence and subordination. It's very, very important to feel oneself dependent on other, come what may you be. Even if you're the biggest preacher of the temple, even if you are the biggest CEO of the company, or if you are the most influential person in the whole society, it's very important for one to feel dependent on the spouse. Without this feeling of dependence, you would never take that extra mile to, show respect, to make that effort to make someone happy. So whoever you are, please, because as jivas also we are all prakriti, right? That's what our philosophy talks. We are all prakriti. Prakriti means what? Dependent. We are meant to be enjoyed. We are meant to serve Krishna, who is the original Purusha. So dependence is the foundational element of coming together. That's why we want to be with Krishna and be together. The same is with the spouse. And the second important element is subordination. Like he always tells me, generally as my nature of being extrovert and kind of leading services, coordinating services, तो बहुत आदत होती है. तो कभी कभी झगड़े में he just passes that comment. तुमको तो आदत है orders देने की. So it's very natural and I can't deny that. And ladies को बहुत जल्दी बुरा लग जाता है. सच बोला ना तो भी बुरा लग जाता है.
सच बोलो तो भी बुरा लगता है.
नहीं, झूठ बोला तो भी बुरा लगता है. वो दूसरा एक्सट्रीम है. I'm sorry, recently I was in Hyderabad and I was taking this Sakhi Sangha topic on Mandodari. And I was telling them, one lady finds difficult to stay with the other. Imagine how men stay with us. 2-3 ladies cannot come and peacefully conduct a service without any misunderstanding, misinterpretations, assumptions, insensitivity, sensitivity. Poor thing, men. They have to deal with us in so many ways. So this aspect of acceptance of reality na, is very, I would not say it's not there, but it's very, situational in ladies. So we need to first accept that I am dependent. And similarly, the men also, even if, yeah, here it is, even if there is, some kind of success that we have got as men, it's still very important to feel oneself dependent, because as Prabhuji said, we are one unit. We both want to go back home, back to Godhead. We both want to, in this life, Krishna has given me this company, each other, right, and the children as a family, so that we all can facilitate each other's Krishna consciousness. And if somebody is not in Krishna consciousness, whether children or the in-laws, then the best that we can do for them is to take care of them materially and physically. Right? So that's our responsibility. Nobody can deny that. Just because we are becoming devotee, our Varnashrama does not go into the background. Right? And Varnashrama does not supersede our Krishna consciousness. We know, that as long as it is favorable for my Krishna consciousness, my duties are always going to be my biggest strength. But at the same time, at one point, if duties are overwhelming, then we know Krishna is the center, because duties to har janam mein rehte hain, right? But Krishna rarely milte hain, right? So this kind of togetherness, this kind of dependence on each other, it's very, very important even for men. As much as openly I can talk about the ladies' lacuna of not accepting the facts as they are, I think men to some extent, with all due respect, it is better to speak on it. But even men should try a bit more to be open to, I know you all really try, I don't deny that, but a bit more open to, let the women also have their space of not just kitchen. Let them have that space of exercising their opinions and all. Of course, they should not make mistakes. I understand Sati, Daksha, all that, so all that is there. But, it's important. Some places, I wouldn't say all men, but most of the men, especially we have often heard this, in our counseling for last so many years, and families connection. घर की बात बाहर नहीं जानी चाहिए. Oh my God. तो अंदर सुलझाओ ना. जब अंदर नहीं सुलझ रहा है तो क्या करोगे? बाहर जाना ही पड़ेगा ना. See, what's more ideal or what's more wise when your house is set on fire? Do you still want to just set it off by your own endeavors? You would definitely want to go and call out for help, that please come and help me. Of course, the trust, confidentiality, all that goes as, a part of the process of the trust and relationship sharing. But yes, it's very important that we both try to keep each other happy. So what is the foundation for togetherness? Subordination and dependence on each other, whether it is man or woman. We both are dependent on each other, and we celebrate this dependence. Because even Krishna consciousness is what we are dependent on, Guru, Gauranga, and Vaishnavas. We don't feel we have become weak by dependence. Dependence does not make us weak, by the way. It makes us even stronger, because we have learned to step over our ego. Right? We are trained, as I said, training. Trust is to actually self-train. So when we are showing that dependence on each other, we are suppressing our ego and saying, "Chal झुक." झुकना पड़ता है. बिना झुके कोई रिश्ता. प्रणातपि सुनी चेना केवल कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में अप्लाई. घर से शुरू होता है. रिलेशनशिप से शुरू करो. And the first relationship is the family. Right? Then it extends further. So the three parts, as we said, of togetherness, which in our day-to-day life that we can practice, is accept. So we accept each other's abilities. Someone is slow, someone is fast, someone is introvert, someone is extrovert, someone is too bubbly, 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 and someone has to be like really moti ke dane ki tarah haste hain. जब दिखता है तो हंसते ही नहीं है. Somebody is like, अच्छा कोई शब्द बोला, क्या बोला? And somebody's like, "Kab band hoga ye speaker?" So we have all kinds of people, even men. Sometimes they are like, too much talkative, and women are like sadhvis, and the other way around. तो बोलो तो ही तो समझेगा, और कुछ बोलते कितना बोलो समझता ही नहीं है. His dialogue, which is like, he's laughing. so much that even without his speech, I can take it out. Right. So accept each other's abilities. Many women, many men, we tend to compare our spouses with others because we always feel ऐसा मेरा husband होता, ऐसी मेरी wife होती तो मेरा situation कुछ और होता जैसे उनके जैसे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है वो बहुत आगे आ गए हो. All we have to do is to live with it and to leverage on it. Not simply live with it, leverage on it. I can share my own experience. I've not even shared with him. While coming in the car, I was thinking that he's a very introvert person, very silent, and because he had like really done quite a bit of his part in his brahmachari ashram, and we coming from Chowpatty, just young, bubbly, unmarried girls, and we thought क्योंकि मंगल आरती जाने नहीं मिलता था, पेरेंट्स नहीं डिवोटीज थे, काउंसिलिंग मीटिंग में भी जाते थे तो किशोरी मात्री 9 बजे आंख दिखाते थे, कि चलो उठो, नहीं मम्मी पापा डांटेंगे, नेक्स्ट टाइम आने नहीं देंगे. So we as unmarried girls, we have only prayed for 2 things before marriage: devotee husband, counseling meetings. Yeah. This is all we begged for in front of Gopinath. Gopinath, get us a devotee husband so that we can attend the counseling meetings end to end. Or हमको, Mataji out of concern would say, चलो उठो जाओ, late हो गया, Papa Mummy may not like it, you are away for so long. Right? So we would say, कब हम भी 10:30-11 बजे husband के साथ counseling meeting से घर जाएंगे, and we don't have to leave early. So imagine we had these kind of silly but very serious aspirations. Right? So that's how we began. So when he was in the ashram and I was like, oh, now we are getting married, so I will go to Mangal Aarti, service, this, that. And he was like, Shanti, Shanti. And I'm like, action, action, action. So it took me some time to adjust कि बाबा उनके ऊपर मैं अपने आप को ज्यादा dependent नहीं बना सकती on this aspect. When I say dependence, it's not that for every silly thing I'm dependent. At heart, we are thoroughly dependent for each other. I know I cannot do anything without his support. No wife can do anything without. There are so many Matajis back in Pune who are like so actively rendering services. The first thing that I do when I see their husbands is to thank them. More than the wife, the husbands have to be thanked because without the support of the husband, the wife cannot even get out of the house. So we are so very dependent on each other. So I would often tell him, "Chalo na temple chalte hain." He would love to go to Bhagavatam, and I would love to go to Mangal Aarti and Guru Puja. इनका भी गुरु एक चीज कॉमन था, एक मंगल आरती था, एक भागवतम था. And I would think, अब मंगल आरती क्यों नहीं आते? बोला बहुत, I did, when in and I just want some time now. And I thought, but I have already lost a lot. I want now. Right? So we had those gaps, but I realized if I have to understand my nature and make myself happy, then there are some things which I have to depend on him. There are some things which I have to find out on my own. So what I did, okay, he does not stop me. Let me go myself. So he never stopped me. तुमको जाना तुम जाओ, but घर का you take care and then you come back. Right? So like that. So I realized I gave him that space like for 6, 7, 8 years, and then he found his way of service or his inclinations of service. And today we don't even ask each other, are you going to the temple or not? We just get up and we go, and now we know that we can leverage on each other's strengths. Right? So we have to accept if someone is introvert, the other is extrovert, someone has more needs, someone has lesser needs, someone's speed is high, someone's speed is low. We need to adjust क्योंकि अपना ही है ना, दूसरा भी है तो अपना ही ना as a unit. Right? So if the husband is or the wife is equally interested in each other's happiness, then what they will do? See, I cannot change much as per my nature, but if your nature demands this, please take care of it while you attend to your basic duties at home. Is this good enough a solution? Right? Is this good enough? Men, समझा कि नहीं समझा? सब wife ने तो हाँ बोल दिया है, men को पता नहीं समझा कि नहीं. Right? But anyways, your wife will explain you better after you go home.
With some purpose.
Basically, understand each other's natures and accept it. You can't change a person overnight. You have to give some time to the potential to float on the surface, and then you will leverage it over the years. So accept the differences, the priorities, जैसे अभी Guru Puja and Mangal Aarti, Bhagavatam, so there will be different priorities. But because we stay close to the temple, we can afford to, मैं अपने आप से जाती हूँ, तुम अपने आप से जाती हो. But those who stay far from the temple, बच्चों के classes होते हैं शाम को, सुबह, बच्चे रात को लेट आए, कुछ program हुआ. Then how do we readjust in these different priorities? Like today I was telling some devotee in the car that, 1 week you do your way, 1 week you do the other spouse's way. This is called accepting each other. मुझे नहीं भी जमता है तो चलो. Like in our case, it is train and flight. For my sake, one time he will have to book something which I like. Otherwise, most of the times it is what he prefers, and that is not any way inconvenient. This is what he will prove. Right? So he also adjusts when it is needed. So one way, my way, once. The other time, it could be your way based because children are ours, no? बच्चों के लिए जितना मदर्स को करना उतना फादर्स को भी करना है, राइट? तो उन दोनों के शेड्यूल के हिसाब से हाउ वी कैन prioritize each other's priorities. 1 week, like alternately, even attending classes. Sometimes the mother is sitting, sometimes the father is sitting, sometimes when the father is doing babysitting. Like there are some ladies whom I have to tell, like Mara's lecture, day 1, I saw your husband taking care of kids. Day 2, I saw your husband taking care of kids. Day 3, I don't want to see him today. The wife is out, husband is in. Right? So it has to be consciously cultivated. ये बहुत ही rare example है जो मैंने दिया. Generally, wives are out and men are also out. Huh? I have seen both also. But yeah, which we don't take anyone for granted, whether it is man or woman. Everybody has desires. Everybody has preferences. Let's value it because we are together. So the compatibility, like I said, preferences, choices, किसी को दाल अच्छा लगता है, किसी को दाल में शक्कर अच्छी लगती है, नहीं लगती है, तो कुछ मेरे तरह, कुछ आपकी तरह. There is this love, languages of love, right? Gary Chapman, he writes this, the best solution is midway. Another best solution is alternate. These two are very important sutras. Come to a midway. ना तुम्हारा ना मेरा, माई वे इज हाईवे तो कभी चलेगा ही नहीं, वो सिर्फ एक्सीडेंट ही होगा वो फैमिली में, राइट? बट हाफ यू वॉक, हाफ आई वॉक. वंस आई डू माई वे, अदर टाइम वी कैन डू योर वे. एंड प्लीज, जिस सब्जेक्ट में एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है, जिद मत करो माई वे, साथ में खाई जाएंगे. So when it is finance, when men have better knowledge, when it is dealing with outsiders, when men have better common sense, leave it to them, right? And when it is home relationships, where women have more of their foot, leave it to them, right? So if you have expertise, you can say this, my way, your way, or let's walk together. Thoda tum chalo, thoda main chalti hu, right? But when you are zero in that subject, simply surrender. Right? So subordination and dependence. So respect, we also, the second part is respect, where whatever happens, whatever differences we have, whatever fights we have, we cannot afford to disrespect the jiva. Like we can never become disrespectful in our thoughts about the person. In our Krishna consciousness, also in managerial, issues, conflicts, we often say this. Separate the issue from the person. Have you heard it? Right? So there is an issue that you're dealing, but do not condescend the person because of the issue. He's just trying his way, or she's just trying her way. Right? So it's very important that we separate the issue from the person. And jhagada hua, ya cold war bhi hua, we know we are still together. Right? What he needs, ऐसे नहीं कि कि आज झगड़ा हो गया, कल सब्जी तीखी हो गई, या रोटी जल गई. We are still, of course, and then अगर रोटी जल भी गई, सब्जी तीखी हो भी गई, then the other spouse understands, oh yes, अभी कल हुआ तो आज तो होना ही था, ये तो होना ही था. Right? So we know ये थोड़ा तो असर रहेगा ही. Right? So like that, we should be prepared for it. So never lose respect. Like we should never come to the point of tu, मैं. Like once it happened with us also, I just said something little harsh. थोड़ा सा ऐसे dominance की तरह दिखाने जैसा, and my mother-in-law immediately came to me and said, you can't speak to him like this. She immediately came and told me, you can't speak to him like this. And I'm like, yes, I should not. Because we are at heart, we are still one unit. Gusse mein ho gaya. And then we say sorry to each other. There's nothing wrong if men can say sorry. And there is nothing wrong if women can also say, sorry, I don't understand. I don't want to say this in front of men, but when Prabhupada writes, when Kunti Maharani says women are less intelligent, do not accept it blindly. But he tells me, at least don't prove it. He gives me good enough. So yeah, but there's a lot of respect also. When my mother-in-law came and told me this, you can't talk to him like this. When we went inside, he immediately agreed his part of the mistake, which provoked me to say what I said. So then it was resolved. Right? So like that, we can never lose respect. But for that, let's not sit with our ego and say, you can't talk to me like this. अरे आपने कैसे contribute किया है वो भी तो देखो. Right? So let's talk it out. Discussion is very important. Went out between the husband and wife. Once a week, once in 15 days, as we are growing in our marriage age, as the responsibilities are growing, the differences will grow because everyone has different ways to handle things. Right? So that's when it becomes even more necessary to sit together and work out the common midways. So we never disrespect the actions and please never make the spouse inferior or condescend the spouse or put them down in front of anybody else. Whether it is your children, because you're sowing the seed, whether it is your parents or whether it is your in-laws, whether it is the person with whom you share your whole heart out, counselors or whatever it is, you can present the problem, but not put the other person down because you love the same person whom you're talking about much more than everyone else. You can't rule out that basic reality of married life. That person is most important to you than anybody else. So how can we put that person down? But yes, we have practical issues. We put up the issue. Okay, this is the difference. These are the dealings. Like I remember once I got very nice chastisement from one particular devotee about both of our issues. And I felt as if, पूरा धरती निकल गई मेरे पैरों के नीचे से. बहुत ऐसे कुछ हो गया था. And then my prabhuji immediately realized that she's got her quota of chastisement. And then he said, now it's too difficult for her to take this, like whatever had happened and whatever chastisements, very severe chastisement. He called up his senior, I mean, in his case, it is Radhesham Prabhu. He called up Radhesham Prabhu and he said, Prabhuji, we have to come and meet you. So we both went and he presented his part and he said, my wife got her quota of chastisement. Can you please guide both of us? So that means what? He was ready for his part. That gives confidence. And फिर कितना भी झगड़ा हो जाए ना, because we know at heart we are together. It's very difficult to do this. Very difficult. Because you focus on what? Not who wins of the two. We focus on how we both can win together. So, putting oneself at a कटघरे में जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, वहां पे खड़ा रह के जवाब देना, it's not an easy thing. खुद को ही अपने को वहां पे खड़ा कर. So let's develop those qualities and say कि yes, मैं भी गलत हो सकती हूँ, मुझे भी ये improvement करना है, whether it is wife or husband, right? So we can never disrespect and we need to adapt to different cultures, traditions, natures, creating Vaikuntha atmosphere. Prabhupada said he has created Vaikuntha atmosphere in the temple, right? Temples are not different than Vaikunthas. And what did Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Je dine grihe bhajana dekhi, grihe te goloka bhaya. He says, the day I come back from home, Radhapriya Matri had trained us into this. Even before when we started looking for men and for our proposals, she had trained. When the husband comes back fighting in the material world with all the maya that attacks him in the form of boss, pressure, commitments, all the arguments, politics, etc. When he comes back and opens the door, there should be a lamp lit in front of the altar. There should be a nice incense which is shown and offered to the Lord. The wife should get dressed nicely, fresh. And that kind of auspiciousness should invite the husband home every day when he returns from office. This is the standard Radha Priya Madhuri had invested in our minds. And we did follow it for quite a long time. Even today, whenever possible, now at 12 to 12 and those shifts, the husband never comes home at 7 o'clock. What to do? Work from home and wife also goes to the work. So many other parameters. But the point is what when somebody is going and facing Maya outside, you give them a soothing welcome back home. It could be children also. Right? So we need to practice that. So there are various natures, various cultures like Mere Maika and Tumhara Sasural and all that, needless to talk about all that. But we need to adapt to a certain extent, but still, even in front of Maika, we both are first priority. Even in front of Sasural, for him, we both are first priority. Right? So that's how we adapt to each other. Like we had decided when we got married, तुम्हारे relatives आए क्या मेरे relatives आए, चाय किसी के लिए नहीं बनेगा. Now, this chai means वो normal ताज महल चाय वो वाला नहीं, herbal tea जो हमारे टेम्पल में मिलता है, कॉफी जो टेम्पल में मिलता है, जो रूल मेरे परिवार के लिए अप्लाई होगा वही रूल आपके परिवार के लिए भी अप्लाई. No discrimination. This is the rule that was set. My Krishna's mercy we are able to follow till now. Right? So, like we adapt to these kinds of natures, and like in our home, obviously that you can make out from me that we all are very talkative and all are into teaching business. My younger brother, older brother, my mother. So my father was a good teacher too. So we are all into teaching business. तो बोलने की बहुत आदत है. तो बोलने की आदत है तो थोड़ा लाउड भी हो जाते हैं, बच्चे सुनते नहीं है तो राइट. तो they keep saying तुम लोग बात कर रहे हो कि झगड़ा कर रहे हो. तो इन लोग क्या ऐसे Krishna. And I'm like, but cultures apart, right? But साथ में रह right? Whether a woman domination means, there has to be some noise. And by the way, जहाँ लड़कियों की चहल पहल नहीं होती है, वो घर घर नहीं होता.
प्रभुजी बोलते हैं अगर प्रभुजी बोले तो माने.
Yes, Shastra says this. To such an extent that when gopis walk in the forest of Vrindavan, the sound of their tinkling bells is the Vedas. But women have to first prove ourselves to be like that, to be respected that way. But yes, वो चहल पहल होती है. But what the point I'm trying to say is that cultures apart, still we respect each other. ऐसे नहीं कि सबके सामने आप झगड़ा कर रहे हो कि बात करो. He comes into the room, तुम लोग थोड़ा धीरे बात करो. Right? So this, why I'm sharing all these things, because all these differences are naturally there. कोई चाय ऐसे जोर जोर से और कोई चाय कोई ऐसे खाता है. like इनके घर में कर्ड राइस, I mean Tamilians eat curd rice, right? तो ऐसे पूरा ऐसे Maharashtra, it is like, so it's like miles apart culture, but they don't condemn we sipping the tea with a noise, and we don't, criticize they licking the hand with noise. So we have to understand there are differences and respect it, right? Initially वो surprise, वो थोड़ा सा feeling bad and थोड़ा सा ridiculing हो जाता है, mocking हो जाता है, but over a period of time we know this is what it is and we have to settle with it, right? So ultimately both of us are one unit. वो हमें बच्चे हो, in-laws हो, parents हो, counselees हो, management क्यों ना हो, temple क्यों ना हो, उनके सामने हमें ये क्या करना है, हम दोनों एक यूनिट है. अगर फाउंडेशन क्या है, डिपेंडेंस एंड सबऑर्डिनेशन. अगर ये फाउंडेशन है, एंड एज प्रभुजी सेड, hands, heads and hearts. If these three things are together, then we are always one unit, whoever it is in opposite to us. So the next is embrace responsibility.
She was talking about dependence. I'm dependent on her even for this seminar. I'm not making it up. I'm not joking. If I'm sitting alone, I don't think so many of you would be hearing it. It's
Also, when he had gone abroad, we had counseling meetings, so everybody said, Mataji, aap le lo. So I tried 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Fifth week, the men were like, so this time again, men said, Mataji, aap le lo na prabhuji agar kahin bahar jana. I said, bilkul nahi. A man can never take from a woman. I know my limits. ये एक बात है, दोनों बैठे हैं तो men can accept. Otherwise, it is hard for men. Which is very natural, it's their status. They are made like that. There's nothing wrong in it. So I should know my limits before they make me realize it.
Hare Krishna. The next topic is embracing responsibility. Because we were discussing about the tires. Remember the tire? One tire is. They are able to remember. When marriage means two tires initially, bike or a scooter. When you get children, either it's an auto or a car, depending on one or two children. So tires are adding up from initial one tires to now two tires to four tires. And we'll have to deal with this. Like Maharaj says, initially when we are alone, we have only one ego. When we get married, there are at least two egos. And depending on the number of children. How many of us feel children don't have ego? How much they can express adamantly. They want it at any cost. They can throw tantrums. They can cry on the road also, right? Lie down and cry on the road and to ensure that I want it at any cost. So even if it is children, even if you say whether it's a little ego or a bigger ego is still there. So from one ego, we are at a position where we are supposed to handle two egos or three or four or maybe plus additional parents and in-laws, multiple egos together. Is it easy to handle ego? Even our own is difficult. Each one of us can vouch for that, right? To handle our own ego, it's one of the last things which will be going from the perspective of anarthas. What to speak of handling multiple and others, which is why it is so very essential. We have to accept and understand that we need support of each other to handle it. At least when both of us are together, instead of just handling one, if both are coming together, if both become one unit, then we can handle children's and parents and in-laws. Because handling ego is a very, very, very sensitive thing. So responsibility means it is a symptom of growth. Taking additional responsibility. Initial marriage, some euphoria stage is there, some years are there, living togetherness, which is also good, which is also important. Formative years of marriage are very essential. Formative years for a student, for our initial spiritual life, for our marital life, formative years. Formative years means like 2 to 5 years are very, very essential. Because what we learn in that usually gets etched, usually gets, we remember it for a long period of time. So responsibility is a symptom of growth. Now that we are staying together, in even children, ideally speaking, I'm talking about an ideal situation. We are supposed to get children when we are done with our fights. you wait for the ideal situation, we will never get a children. But that's how it is supposed to be. That means before child comes, we have settled and sorted it. Otherwise, child will feel first you settle, I'll come later. The child says, what's happening here? Why did you invite me? First, we have to settle amongst ourselves. And child means it's we are now together ready to accept another responsibility. To make it more precise, we are together ready to accept a common responsibility. Together. It's not just between you and me. We are both will have to put our inputs, and it's a shared responsibility, common responsibility. Object is common. Then it has more meaning. Otherwise, unfortunately, in the modern times, I mean, of course, devotees are at least a little bit trained, but for people outside, usually it is like learning in the laboratory directly. It's like once the child comes, it's as if the child has to teach the mother. Now do this. Now this is the next step. Now you do this. Sometimes the mother is asking on the phone, "Ab kya karu?" The child is already come. Now what? He's crying. What? Why is he crying? We are asking on the phone. We are trying to figure out. And unfortunately, modern times, you may even Google it. Safe ways to ask. Modern appliances. But a safe way to ask one's mother or the mother-in-law, depending on whom we are, have the comfort, grandmother, those who have that experience and the wisdom. One is experience and second is wisdom. Wisdom comes by handling multiple issues. And they know at this particular situation how, as per time and circumstances, how to sort it out, how to address it, things like that. So, learning to accept some common responsibility. And family is one part of responsibility. Additionally, we may also have to embrace responsibility from the perspective of seva or service in the temple. But in order to do that, it is so very essential to first settle and sort out within the family responsibilities to ensure our service to the temple is not done at the cost of neglecting family responsibilities. Otherwise, if the spouse goes for Rajbhog, the Lord is happy, the wife is happy, but the husband is thinking, मैंने क्या पाप किया है? So it is not that the wife is not supposed to go for Rajbhog, but if it happens to be at the cost of the basic needs not being provided, then cannot last for a long period. Once in a while, husbands also have to learn to accept and adjust based on timeless circumstances. But if it's becoming a regular feature, then some discussion needs to happen, or at least over the frequency of it, or the feasibility part of it, right? But responsibility, when we, in fact, when a boy is not responsible, that's when they are usually family members will discuss, get him married. He's right now an irresponsible boy, get him married. क्या होता है पता नहीं उसके बाद. What kind of magic they are able to do? I'm at a loss of words. They are able to inculcate a sense of responsibility in boys. That's when the boys become men. Learning responsibility. And then learning to do shared responsibility, either it is in the form of children or serving the in-laws, serving the parents. That's part of the family life. There is no point in cribbing. I have to do this. I have to take care of spouse also. I have to take care of children also. I have to take care of in-laws also. I have to take care of this also. I wish I had a nuclear family. I heard sometimes I hear that in the modern time context, people sometimes before getting married, they ask, आपके parents साथ में नहीं रहेंगे ना? It's like before getting married itself, we are trying to clarify and sort it out. साथ में रहेंगे तो, I'll look for a different proposal. Just think about it. Joint family, in one sense, it's a great blessing. How many times she quoted my mother, whatever little wisdom that she got, little. It makes a lot of difference. We feel it's an obstacle in our privacy. We are, that's where we have to understand family is not just two people coming together. When we hear a child is not raised just by one family, it takes a village to raise a child. And many of us are fortunate, many of us stay close to the temples or as communities. Our children are very fortunate that sometimes they have multiple, either parents, uncles, aunts, so many devotees to take care of. It's a very wonderful sign, very wonderful symptom. But when we take responsibility, actually we get more additional realizations. Without responsibility, one cannot expect realizations. Responsibility means weight, something we are adding. If we add weight on our head, before that, we have to be standing on a stable platform. To take up additional responsibility means I'm settled with what I already have. Now I'm ready for a new responsibility. Just like from the professional life, corporate perspective, if you already have one project, it's going on well. When it's a new project, you have to focus a lot. Once it's a regular feature, when it's a maintenance mode, it's manageable, handleable. Again, when you get a new responsibility, it's not that you lose the old one and you get a new one. Usually how it happens, existing is also there and you are given additional responsibility. If we say, "Arey, itna load dal rahe ho," then the manager will say, "But tum pooch to promotion ke liye rahe ho." You are asking for promotion, and when you are given additional responsibility, you are saying, "It's too much." Why would a person get promotion unless he is not given an additional responsibility? Which means additional responsibility, we should equate it to promotion. Now we are qualified for marriage. Ideally speaking, we should have some qualification for marriage. Currently, we get married based on age. Ideally, there should be a little bit of training before getting into it. What I'm getting. Sometimes most of the people are not aware what we are getting into. After that, it looks like nightmare sometimes. We are not aware. But if we get a little bit of training, it will help a lot. Really help a lot. Otherwise, we feel, भगवान ने दुनिया क्यों बनाई? Start thinking like anything. But when we understand, everybody is going through that, then suddenly it dawns, "Arey yaar, I could have asked my family members, I could have asked my friends, I could have asked people around, my neighbors, but I was just within myself and I have thought my problem is so unique that I can't even share it to Krishna." If we are wondering, but please understand, these are all universal. Whether you come to Bangalore or Pune or you go to abroad, these are universal. So since the problems are universal, if we learn a little bit in advance, that will really, really help us a lot. So at least what we have to understand is responsibility is a symptom of growth. Whether it's children, whether it is in-laws, additional responsibilities is coming up. If we see it as a burden, we don't even grow. But we have to see responsibility as purification. Responsibility as purification. When we see it as a burden, it becomes mechanical. Neither we like to do it, nor the person who receives the service likes it. Even the person who receives it is able to sense it. Like if we go to a hotel and if we order for some plate of prasad, and the waiter comes and says, he puts it on the table and says, "No," how will we feel? We understand there is some problem and he's just throwing it. So similarly in house, if it happens, the person himself or herself also not satisfied. Person who receives the service also will not be satisfied. We should not see it as a burden, rather accept it as a part of purification. And very important, many issues, whatever things we are going through, please understand it's universal. We do not have very, very unique problems. We have common problems, universal problems. And please consult nearby devotees who can be available. That will save us a lot of time and energy. Otherwise, after 2 years, we realize, it's like sometimes we, uh, for a small thing, we are expecting a PhD person to answer it. Well, even a 8th standard small boy, if I am studying in 4th standard, even an 8th standard boy can help me. But if I'm waiting for a PhD, we are wasting a lot of time and energy. We should look around. That's the benefit of association of Vaishnavas. It's never that in a batch or wherever we are, everybody's on the same level. There is always superiors equals juniors. Let us learn to benefit from each other's association. Even I'm talking even local. We don't even have to look outside. We don't have to go abroad. Even local, we can benefit from each other's association.
So some practical tips for responsibility. Couple of things that when we share responsibility with each other, it helps a family to become stable because it's not just on one person. When does stability come? When does balance happen? When both sides are equalized, right? So when the responsibility of the family is shared, then that's how it becomes more of a balanced family. That means you don't think ye tumhara kaam hai, ye mera kaam hai. We see this is to be done, and who can share it, whose bandwidth allows it. It's not me or he, and whoever can manage to extend and fit into their bandwidth, ultimately the purpose is achieved. So a couple of ways to have that kind of stability or responsibility in our day-to-day life sharing. First and the foremost between the spouses is to understand each other's needs. Responsibility does not mean paisa la ke de diya, ghar de diya, saman la ke de diya, bacche de diye, aur kya chahiye. Creation is not all in all. Maintenance is more difficult than creation and annihilation, as depicted even in our scriptures. Right? The creation that Brahma does, annihilation that Shiva does, but Vishnu is considered to be in goodness who takes care of maintenance, which is the most difficult task to do. When Trishanku wanted to go in the very same body to heavens, Vishwamitra ko pehle Vashishta ko approach kiya. Phir Vashishta denied. He said, "You are not qualified to go. You have not earned enough sukruti for it." So he went to the opponent of Vashishta, which was Vishwamitra. So this is what sometimes children also do. Mummy ne na bola, papa ke paas jao. So this is what Trishanku did. He went to Vishwamitra and told him. Vashishta said no. That opened the ears of Vishnu. Oh, he said no, I will say yes. So that's how he took someone else's goal upon his head. Right? He owned someone else's problem, which is, not right in our understanding. So for our growth. So he took up and he wanted to send him, with all the tapasya that he was doing, long story cut short with all graphical movie, it's worth a movie actually. So with all the pastimes behind it and all the adventures, the thrills, he finally got the Sukruti to send Trishanku up. So he did this, Indraya Swaha, and he put it like this, and Trishanku was going up. And as he was going up, the troposphere, the hemisphere, and all those things was, completely tearing apart his body because the defined body of Pancha Mahabhut was not suitable to go through the spheres of the universe, crack the spheres of the universe. Somehow Indra, as soon as he reached Indra's, planet at the doorstep, and his, or like जैसे ठंडी में हमारे पैर फटते हैं, हमारे lips फटते हैं, हमारे हाथ फटते हैं, and we start bleeding. Trishanku was bleeding all over his body because वो फट रहा था सर. Because आप खुले प्लेन में एरोप्लेन का छत उड़ गया तो क्या होगा? वैसे हो रहा था उसको. So he just went up. Indra said, not qualified. चल नीचे हट. Tuck, came down. विश्वामित्र said, फिर से नीचे आ रहा है. स्वाहा. फिर से ऊपर. फिर इंद्र said, not allowed. नीचे. Tuck, फिर से नीचे. अब त्रिशंकु बोला मेरे को नहीं जाना, ये पीड़ा बंद करो. विश्वामित्र बोला आप मुझे भेजना है. Because now I am competitor to Vashishta. Somehow seeing this, Trishanku said, spare me, I don't want to go to heavens anymore. He said, but I want to send you. So just because Vishwamitra was a great tapasvi and he was not a demon kind of a person, the Lord allowed him to create by his tapobal, he could create a swarga, but he could not maintain it. Trishanku stood there, but he was standing till date hanging upside down. Right? Because he is not deserving unless you earn the, like Prabhupada simply says in Easy Journey to Other Planets, unless you earn the visa and the passport stamping, you cannot go to another country on this earth. How can you go to another planet in the very same body? Right? So that's how Vishwamitra somehow created this Swarga, but Trishanku was hanging upside down. But when it came to Hare Babre, Tapobal to pura creation mein chala gaya, maintenance ka kya? Then he remembered Vishnu. And then Vishnu said, I will maintain it for you. Till date, Swarga is maintained. Trishanku is hanging upside down, proving what? दूसरों के झगड़े को अपने सर पे नहीं लेना चाहिए. दूसरा कोई आके अपने सो कॉल्ड कॉम्पिटिटर की तारीफ करे तो स्वे नहीं होना चाहिए. बिकॉज वो किस लिए आता है? हमारे लिए आता है, क्योंकि हम उसको सीरियसली ले लेते हैं. Right? Let's focus only on ourselves and not on others. So basically, maintenance is most difficult to do. Right? So the stability in family life comes with that kind of sharing of the responsibility. It's not just creation of a marriage, as Prabhuji said, it's not a one-day event. You have to maintain whatever comes henceforth. Right? So this stability in family life comes in two ways. One is understand, many ways actually, some of the ways that we have jotted down is understanding each other's needs. Our needs differ based on our natures, our priorities, our preferences, our phases, our health, our aspirations, our likings, and our other capabilities. How you can handle the capabilities. So हर एक का अलग अलग होता है. We understand each other's needs. We share responsibility and duties at home. जैसे हमें पता चल गया कि, like suppose for example, he understands that sometimes I need to, have some convenient conveyance. So as I said, he knows that's my need. So 2 times if he does his way, 3rd time he will do mine. Similarly, I know that I may get a little bit irritated when I have to do an elaborate cooking. Although I love cooking, but at times because of service, if I'm not able to manage, I know एक बार बना किया, 2 बार बना किया, तीसरी बार I have to do it anyway. Right? So like this, we share the response, we facilitate each other's needs. So the first is understanding each other's needs. Second is sharing responsibilities and duties at home based on, again, our capacities, capabilities, our other services, our, whenever there is this guest department, Urmila Mataji was here for a week, Nitai Premi Mataji was there for 3-4 days. So whenever there is any guest, I'm sorry to say, but I can't but remember my mother-in-law about it. So whenever there's any guest coming, and I have to kind of be there to receive, and for all the 3-4 days, I'm assisting, taking care of their routines, their schedules and coordination with different centers. So my mother-in-law tells me, "Acha, mujhe pata hai, aaj to late aayegi Guru Puja ke baad, you take care, I will go and manage the breakfast." Right? So it's very natural for her to offer that. And I'm like, "Acha, theek hai, ye main jitna jaldi niptaun so that I can go home and..." So this eagerness is both ways. right? It's not that, अच्छा, अब मंदिर में इतने बड़े guest का you want to serve, and घर पे I am cooking. So even if my mother-in-law would not be there, even if there is husband, even if there are children, even they can extend at times, right? Similarly, when women have to go for some exclusive festivals, some exclusive programs, commitments, even men can say, no problem. Throughout the week, you are at home. One day, if you have to go out and we have to manage something with simple, food, we don't mind. We can take care, right? And the same thing applies for women also when husbands are not able to offer something, which otherwise they have offered us quite a lot. So we share those responsibilities. We also facilitate each other's services in the temple, right? So this is the third thing, understanding each other's needs, sharing responsibility and duties at home as per time, place, circumstances. Third is facilitating each other's needs. Like I know a couple back there in Pune, Bhakti Leela. She has got twins, very small twins, and she's very active in taking care of the next generation Matajis. Maybe may not be very active in services, but very active in taking care of cultivating next generation Matajis, those who are just newly married, the young girls, just become new mothers. So her husband always tells her, because she's also very active and very, very enthusiastic about different services. So whenever I ask her something, her husband is like, ठीक है, बच्चों को स्कूल भेजने के बाद जो भी होता है, you take care, rest I'll manage. And whenever I meet Chittamohan Prabhu, I'm like, Prabhuji, whatever Bhakti Leela is able to do is only because of your support. So that kind of gratitude has to be expressed, and the husband never feels that wife ko itna credit kyun mil raha hai. Wife is only going out and doing services, but it's not like that, right? So when the husband comes home or when the wife comes back home after her service, now it's her turn to facilitate his service. So when she is out for Pushpa Abhishek service, her first half, then she goes back by afternoon and then she releases her Prabhu saying, now you go for your, visitor care service. This is called togetherness. This is called facilitating each other's service. ऐसे नहीं कि हम माताजी सर्विस के नाम पे पूरा दिन घर से गायब and husband बोलेगा मेरा सेवा का क्या? That's your lookout. It doesn't work that way. We have to facilitate each other's service because we all have that quota of some need of contributing in small ways, right? So we need to understand and facilitate each other's service and appreciate and encourage each other. This is a very important lubricant of family life. I'm not saying flattering, I'm not saying exaggerating, but time to time, appreciation and encouragement. जो बहुत कम हमारे मुंह से मोतियों की तरह निकलते हैं, right? Very rarely we see the spouses appreciating. जो बाहर सब्जी बना के क्या दाल बनाई है माता जी, क्या सब्जी, वाइफ उधर ही खड़ी है, मैं तो तुमको रोज बना के खिलाती हूँ. Hardly did you praise, right? Like sensitivity means what? Even if you have to give a correction, you begin with a praise. Like he does that many a times when he has to start some controversial topic with me. So then he'll begin with, Pav Bhaji achhi bani thi. And I'm like, what's next? By now we're used to it, what comes naturally and what's coming with a deliberate, planning. And he's never flattering. I mean, I can be very sure and honest on that. But that's like, packaging. You're packaging an issue discussion along with aage piche, upar niche ka bread, which is a praise. So appreciation is a very important lubricant, whether it is a man or a woman, because everybody, even men, are Prakriti in front of Krishna, right? But while in this body, their ego must be respected. That is the responsibility of the woman, right? And women are meant to be whatever emotional, thoda sentimental oriented, right? So that freedom, that space has to be given by men to the women. So when we understand and accept each other's personalities, it's more easy to function together as a team. Then question, तुम ऐसे क्यों हो? तुम्हारे बनाया ही ऐसा है. Right? Let's become the best. हम जैसे भी हैं. Together, let's become the best. And change. I'm not saying don't change. Okay, please do not get us wrong in any way. Whatever we are putting are the principles which are like general. There are applied principles, as we know, like the application, the day-to-day practicality of its relevance could differ from person to person, family to family, situation to situation. But this never means मैं तो ऐसा ही हूँ. मैं तो ऐसी ही हूँ. No, there's always a scope of improvement. Very senior devotee, his ways going Prabhu, he always says this: enhance your good and work upon the shortcomings. This is the perfect formula for growth. If we are able to handle things and relatives sensitively, that's our strength. Let's enhance it. Never reduce that. Never condemn it. But when we know there are certain things like finance, gadgets, or some issue resolutions which we are not very good at, scriptures. Sometimes I quote shlokas also wrong because I'm not very good at shlokas, sorry to say. But yeah, then he compliments me. And then he tells, this is how we are a team. I say the meaning, he'll say the shloka. Right? Or if I have to ask, ye kaun sa shloka, I know I have to ask him. Ye meaning wala shloka kaun sa hai, then he'll come up with this. So that's how we complement each other, right? Similarly, with respect to any names or the places or the roads, he knows that he'll have to depend on me. So that we both have strengths. Let's just be a unit, the best unit possible together, right? So we have to appreciate and encourage each other, which is like a lubricant. Please remember, this is very important. Like how every machine needs lubricant, right? Every gadget or every mechanical thing needs a lubricant to run smoothly. Similarly, every relationship needs genuine, constant, regular, time to time appreciation and encouragement, not flattery. And you know what happens when you try this? You yourself become more open-minded. Because when we say we can't flatter, तो अगर आप पति पत्नी के पास जाके आज तो आप बड़े शांत लग रहे हो, no, and you never know if it's a taunt, right? So it's not that flattering, right? You have to really pierce to the person's conditionings to go deep into him and say, you are better than yesterday, right? It can't be just a lip sync. It can't be just a mask. You can't mask appreciation, right? So it actually makes us even more better internally because you're forced to pierce through the conditionings and then come up with a genuine appreciation, right? So it is a very major lubricant in a family life to keep constantly appreciating and encouraging others. Like my mother-in-law, she makes garlands in the temple. So Jagannath, she makes, okay. So any festival, name it any festival, all 12, 14, 15 festivals in a year, we will come back at home at our own times. I come back my time, he come back his time. My mother-in-law comes back early after her service. Next day morning, when the discussion happens, how was the temple festival? We will start with kitchen. I will start with my experience. And my mother-in-law will say, Darshan kitna acha tha na? हाँ मम्मी दर्शन बहुत, and we are talking some other things, only managerial things. And he will ask, क्या अच्छा था? जगन्नाथ का garden. She's asking her, तुमको पूरे मंदिर में सिर्फ जगन्नाथ ही दिख रहे हैं क्या? No, so but that shows that her heart is into it. Right? So off late I've seen him do this, where after a festival he'll purposely come back and say, Jagannath ka garland bahut acha. Right? So it's not that he's flattering her. He's just making her feel, okay, Baba, ye aapka zone hai. No, so I know you look forward to it. And he's acknowledging it, right? So whether it's a mother or a child or a woman or a man, everybody needs appreciation and encouragement. If we don't know how to do it, let's learn. Right? As I said, we all come with a set of samskaras. I'm not saying we're all experts here. हम जो ये tips बता रहे हैं, share कर रहे हैं, जो हमने भी हमारे सीनियर से सुने, कुछ खुद गलती करके सीखे हैं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि कल से आप सब कुछ अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. It's you have to begin from where you are. If you're not able to follow it, let's cultivate. That's why I said those three things. Cooperation is a conscious cultivation. Trust is a self-training. Right? Let's begin from where we are to apply these principles in our lives. Yes, and the last one is very, very important again. All these are very important. What is first? Understand each other's needs. What is the second? Sharing responsibilities. Just 1 minute. What is the third one, men? Prabhuji? Facilitating other services. Fourth? Appreciation and encouragement, which is a continuous lubricant in married life. And fifth, and very, very important to ensure that all the above four are happening, is quality time invested in each other. We need to sit together exclusively as a unit between husband and wife. Take out the time. You decide the frequency. You decide the time. Mataji.
before sitting like this in front of others, we have to sit together for a long time.
So we take out that time, discuss the issues, क्या problem हो रही है, कहाँ नहीं हो रही है, घर के कौन से member से क्या क्या issues आ रहे हैं, मैं कितना handle कर पा रही हूँ, नहीं कर पा रही हूँ, I need your support here, can you do this, come up with some policies कि चलो ये ऐसे रहेगा, ये ऐसे रहेगा, 8 बजे तक breakfast बनेगा, अगर मम्मी को चाहिए तो बनेगा, right? It's like that. So then I have to figure out पहले मुझे क्या करना है, how do I backtrack myself, my schedules, right? So like this we understand, and then he says when you're serving me, no phones. But sometimes so many calls come that I end up in that, right? So then there is the difference, and then there is an argument, and then, oh my God, again. So I have to bring that change in myself. If he expects, and similarly, when I expect something, then he will also have to bring that change in himself. So that's a conscious cultivation. It is not just a concept. It's a conscious cultivation. So we need to invest that time in each other to understand what's rubbing hard, which edges are getting into friction mode, right? So we have to invest. And as he rightly said, before you consult others, first learn to discuss with oneself. How many of you felt our discussions always lead to fights, Mataji? Mataji, discussion leke baithe ke nahi, fights ho jate. Because we never agree on points, right? We always feel the other person is wrong. But when you start with this mindset, no, we both have to win. Even if you're fighting, we both have to win. When will that mindset come? When we are focused on how together we can go back home, back to Godhead. So please learn the art of discussion, where you handle issues, not the person, where you accept honestly, yes, I went wrong here, where you boldly say, okay, I cannot be selfish here, I need to think about someone else in the family in this context, right? So when we need to cultivate those broad-mindedness, elements in order to have a peaceful discussion which results thoughtful into thoughtful policies or into thoughtful solutions, right? So these are the 5 ways that we can try to bring about stability in family life. Now the last one, which is balance, duty, and love. We'll just conclude in 10-15 minutes. And if you all have any questions, if you're still are able to tolerate us, then we can.
So don't worry, just last point, last section. Balancing duty and love. We have spoken about nurturing togetherness. We have spoken about embracing responsibility, balancing duty and love. Today, even the speaker is speaking. Today, even the speaker is actually preaching. Initially, the speaker was kept there. Men were expecting it's only the women who need all the guidance. That's why it is settled here that it is required for both, including us, but it's midway, balancing. Balance requires goodness. If any time we talk about balance, we have to first at least be on the level of goodness, then only we can talk about it. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta karma chestasu. Yukta means appropriate. Whether it is in food, whether it is in recreation, whether it is in work. In fact, yoga bhavati dukkaha. It is by the balance, the miseries are removed. Yoga bhavati dukkaha. So it requires goodness. That means sometimes when we have a discussion or a heated arguments and things like that, we can say, sometimes we can schedule, just like if men are more oriented towards a project, then we are like want to schedule some things, So sometimes we can have a scheduled fight also. A scheduled discussion. Tomorrow between 2 to 3 house issues we can talk about. Because why I'm saying scheduled, both are agreeing to give the time. Otherwise, what happens sometimes when the husband is just about to leave for office? 2 minute है क्या? टिफिन हाथ में दे दिया है, and then
इनके अंदर चिपके रहे प्रसाद चाहिए
कल अगर प्रसाद चाहिए, आज इसमें प्रसाद है, कल अगर चाहिए तो समय दो. So it should actually, why it happens, if like that it happens, I'm giving the live example. If something like this, when we are about to go to the office, and if the spouse comes in and says, I want to share something, what it basically means, our issues are not addressed. It's lingering, it's lurking. Sometimes, like in our building, small one, when we go to the temple, when our neighbors meet each other, we discuss about building issues. I was realizing here, we are all our devotees. When we are coming to temple together, we are discussing building issues. Why? Then I was really trying to contemplate on it. I came to the conclusion because it is not addressed. Simple. It was not addressed. That's why it keeps. That means even if you go to the temple, the issue is still following you. And then we came to the conclusion that let us have some regular scheduled meeting, whether there is an issue or not. Please understand, this is very practical. Let us have some regular fixed frequency, whether there is an issue or not. If there is an issue, let us discuss. If there is no issue, let us have kirtans, and at least temple में जब मिलेंगे तो building का बात मत करना. In one sense, we are, if this is sorted out in temple, you can be peaceful to do devotional service. Otherwise, you have been irresponsible in handling the building issues. It is not allowing you to be peacefully executing our devotional service even in the temple. Similarly, if in the house that it's happening, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then it starts with 2 minutes and it becomes 1 hour. If it happens, all it means is it is not addressed. Either you keep the tiffin and say, I don't want it, keep it. At that time itself, either you sort it out or you say, we'll come together, after coming from office, we'll discuss or schedule it. Within next 2 days, within this 1 week, let us have a discussion when you also have time, when I also have time, and if possible, both of us, if we are in mode of goodness, the discussions is more meaningful. All it requires is mode of goodness, schedule it, and if it is not addressed, it will keep lurking again and again. What we are seeing as botheration, it's an indication. Not addressed, not addressed, not addressed. Why do we keep getting obstacles? If we keep getting same obstacles, all it means is we have not passed the test. If we keep getting same anartha, even the next anartha is saying, "मैं कब आऊं?" यार तुम तो वही एटीकेटी दे रहे हो तुम 4 साल से. We are dealing with the same anartha for so many years. Next anartha is waiting. If we keep getting obstacles in anything, all it means is we have not addressed it. We have not dealt with it. We have not sorted it out. It's a good indication. Do the needful. Once you sort it out, at least you'll get the next level. At least there'll be some promotion. There'll be some further responsibility. Right? So we'll just end with this. Relationships, four different aspects of it, or 4 levels of it, we can say. Evolution in a relationship. First one is a thin relation. Thin and thick, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, thin, feeble है थोड़ा. Second level is a transactional one. Transactional. Third level, traditional. And fourth level, transcendental. From thin to transactional to traditional to transcendental. Thin relation means it is based on fear. If I don't serve my in-laws, my husband is going to give me some whatever orders, ultimatum, and all that. I have to face something. If I don't serve my, so it's not being doing out of love, but if I don't serve, यहाँ से सुनने मिलेगा. It's like if I don't come for the Bhagavatam class, I'll not get prasad. Is it a very good platform? Although we may like prasadam, but if I don't attend Bhagavatam class, I'll not get prasadam. So that should not be the main. It should not be fear. Should not be the driving factor for our service. It's a very thin relation. Whether it is for the spouse, whether it is for the children, whether it is for the in-laws, for the family, there is service which is being provided. If it is based on fear, it can't even last long. Right? Person gets suffocated. That is how usually people later on rebel. People who appear to be extremely submissive for some time, one fine day or one unfortunate day, suddenly they want to do tandav. Whatever you say, I will not do. It will get rebellious because it is based on fear, and everybody will have some threshold capacity to be able to bear it. Beyond that, then when person comes to that level, threshold levels, then everything is put to ashes like that. Next is transactional. I'm ready to serve and I'm getting something. मेरा यात्रा का टिकट निकल रहा है. I'm getting something in return. I'm ready to serve as long as my plate of prasadam is also filled up. I'm ready to distribute, provided mine is also taken care of. There is transactional. What is this based on? Give and take. This is based on desire. I have a desire, I approach this demigod, it will get fulfilled. Similarly, if I render this service, it's like children sometimes. If I study well, cycle milega. Right? If I do something nicely, if I get good marks, and then I go to Papa, Mama, and then say, see this my wonderful result, and then what do you want? There is a motive behind that. Desire. It's based on a desire. That means there is a transaction happening. You're doing service for actually receiving something. A next level, a little more evolved level, which is traditional level. In the traditional level, a person serves as one's duty. Huh? Kartavya, one's duty platform. It's my dharma. I am a wife, I am a spouse, my dharma. Similarly, husband's dharma. Whether we are to serve the family, serve the in-laws, serve the children, then we don't see our service as a burden. We see our service as purification. Some of you are aware in Pune we had His Grace Satyavati Mataji, one of the pioneers who were started Krishna consciousness in all of Pune. Of course, she has left her body already, but she in her almost we can say decade, almost for a decade, she was serving her mother and in-laws. Both, both were bedridden. Now, father-in-law, both like parent side and in-law side, both bedridden. Almost practically for about a decade, 10 years or so, she was not able to attend any yatras. Or we may say what kind of platform this is. And sometimes Maharaj would ask, where is she? That is their relationship. That is how close they are to Maharaj. But when it comes to duty, when it comes to dharma, now we may say, will you get more purification by serving your in-laws rather than going for the yatra? Can we try to equate it? Or can we try to compare it? We may have to do the needful. We may have to do the needful. Purification doesn't come easily. Dharma is not so easy to practice because every one of us will be tested as per our so many what our previous backgrounds. But when it is done on a duty platform, in one sense we can say there is nothing that you're going to receive from this service. Nothing that you're going to receive apparently, externally. But by doing that, the person is internally satisfied. I am performing my dharma. So this is the traditional, which is whether it's a responsibility for the husband, responsibility for the wife. Both of us have, there are duties. When that's why marriage itself is, it's a responsibility. We are bound by duties. The different vows that we take, we are not supposed to only think about destination wedding. But what about the vows? What about the journey? And what about, together we have circumambulated the sacred fire in front of the Vaishnavas, in front of the deities and all that. So it's a great responsibility. There is certain duties which is one has to be conscious. And of course, the next level is transcendental, which is purely based on love. So the lower is fear, then there is desire, then there is based on duty, and higher than that, evolution is based on love, where one naturally feels it's beyond duty, where one actually feels gratitude. One actually feels gratitude that I have to render this service. This is my purification at this point of time. So from a thin relation to a transactional relation to a traditional relation to a transcendental relation. Wherever we are, we have to learn to move on to the next level and getting it more better and better and better. So these are in the thin relation, it will be a very formal relation. When it is based on fear, it's a very, very formal relation. And sometimes we have in companies, we are working in the same cubicles, but hardly we know each other. Whereas in the case of transactional desire, working relations. Again, in the company, sometimes in order to get something done or I have to do something for him, then there is transactional, there is working relation. But on a duty platform, in a traditional relationship, there is dependence. There is dependence and also interdependence. You look at that 7 habits, and that gives a beautiful circle. Initially, one is dependent, then one tries to become independent, then one understands I have to be interdependent. Initially dependent, then independent, then we become interdependent. So this is that dependence in the traditional relationship. And finally, in the transcendental, there is nothing but gratitude. We have received so much from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from the spiritual master, from the community of Vaishnavas. Whatever we can, let us share it out of gratitude. Nothing more than that. Hare Krishna.
Gratitude that the companionship that we have shared for so many decades in marriage has helped me become a better person, to serve Krishna, to serve Guru, to serve Vaishnavas. Gratitude that my husband stood besides me, my wife stood besides me in my difficult times and in my good times. Gratitude that children taught both of us so much that they made us better individuals. Gratitude that together we went for so many yatras. Although we fought in those yatras, but we have collected so much of Sukruti, purification, blessings, absorption. Gratitude that when I fell sick, we both served each other. Gratitude that whenever I went for programs, he or she always accompanied me. Gratitude that despite my unwillingness, my spouse always supported my desires, my services were facilitated. Gratitude that together both of us could be a humble offering at the lotus feet of our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. Gratitude that in this lifetime, whatever Krishna put in my plate, he was my companion or she was my companion to move forward together in Krishna's service. Gratitude that we are all together at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada in order to realize the perfection of our life, which is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. To realize and prove and facilitate each other's Jivera Swarupa hoy, not only husband Dera Das, not only children Dera Das, not only wife Era Das or in-laws Era Das. Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, and within that Krishna Das, there are other dharmas which we are more than happy to execute for each other. Right? So we are grateful that our spouse helped us realize the Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. Grateful that we have shared so many moments of togetherness, so many moments of responsibility, so many moments of balance, falling, rising. And ultimately, we stand here today as a better evolved person, as a better evolved devotee, as a better evolved disciple, as a better evolved living entity for which this life was given, these opportunities were given, I could leverage on it. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. More than anyone, children are excited. Oh, yeah.
Hare Krishna. We're grateful to all of you for patiently hearing for so long. We have been speaking so long. Now others also want to speak.
Sharing your way, my way, highway, right? So we have to come midway. Also, a very important disclaimer, whatever we both shared is just our personal limited realization experiences or whatever we have received from our seniors. Please do not limit it to what we have shared. There is much more wisdom, coming from so many other devotees. Whatever suits your, footwear, take that. Whatever suits your situation, take that. Do not just blindly follow whatever we have said, because every situation is tailor-made, is customized. It needs a different kind of application and intervention. So please forgive us if anything that we have shared is wrong or beyond our capacity and realization. We seek forgiveness for that. Please do not take any of that seriously. And if you have felt anything important or helpful to your particular situation in your application, personal family lives, it's all because of the glory of Guru, Krishna, and the senior Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, we have so many devotees, and definitely you have lot to share, lot to introspect. At the same time, if you have something, then you can say something quick. And if you have any questions, comments, any realizations, anything, any key takeaways that you might have, so please raise your hand.
Prasad being served, Prasad is here only, right? So everybody has to wait. Fine.
There's some interference that is from the abstract. Prabhuji Mataji, I have this question that when it comes to appreciation, so those who are a little extroverted, for them it is little easier to appreciate. Those who are a little introverted, the other partner may have to wait for decades to receive even one comment. So there is expectation from the extroverted person that at least where I have put some effort, little one comment if we get. So how to get out of that expectation, first of all? or should the introverted person try little harder to, or when they appreciate it looks fake? So
You neither need to be an extrovert or an introvert to appreciate whatever we are, because appreciation does not mean how many words you are speaking. Appreciation can be as simple as thank you. आज की सब्जी अच्छी थी कि नहीं? Appreciation can be as simple. We don't have to make it too elaborate. It can be even the daily, day-to-day transactional things. And to avoid it becomes flattery, obviously one has to be genuine that you liked it and you are expressing it. Just like what is realizations of the realizations in Shastras? It's not necessarily something new. It's just whatever is given in the scriptures. If it clicks you, it's a realization. If you are able to treasure that and eventually you want to leverage that, it doesn't have to be something new. Appreciation doesn't have to be something I have to give a big paragraph when it is ready, then I will start. Thank you. It can be a simple gesture. And thank you is very generic. If it is very little specific, the other person will be able to appreciate your appreciation better. Otherwise, a generic thank you, sometimes person asks, kiske liye? When you become little specific for what it is, and if for all we need is a heart to feel. All we need is a heart to feel. If you have that, then it will come out as an expression. It's not a matter of how many words you speak.
So the natures that you're referring to, natures don't change easily, but they can be spoken out. So when you feel it's a pressing issue, speak out. There's times when you can tolerate it, when you can let go of it, but when it starts bothering you once, twice, thrice, 10 times, year, 2 year, 3 year, then it's a time to talk out. That I know it's your nature, understanding each other's needs, which we discussed in stability. So you understand each other's needs, that introvert person understands, okay, my husband needs or my wife needs this, the other spouse needs this. Then the introvert person has to take one step. कि बाबा चलो मेरे को अगर 4 बार लग रहा होगा और my nature चारों बार does not allow, I'll at least take once. That's a one step she has taken or he has taken. Similarly, जो other spouse होगा जिसको expectation होता है कि बाबा थोड़ी सी तारीफ कर ले एक आध बार, तो उसको 4 बार लग रहा होगा, उसको 3 बार नहीं मिला होगा बेस्ड ऑन द नेचर, जो उसको समझ गया, अभी क्लैरिटी आ गई है, एक बार मिला तो उसने वो 4 को इरेज कर दिया. So like this, these are practical steps and ways and discussions by which you can actually help each other become a better version of oneself. So talk it out if it's a pressing issue. Otherwise, you can tolerate. Yes, thank you. Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, thank you so much for your wonderful and practical classes and that your association. Hare Krishna. So, as Prabhuji said, we should schedule a meet for our discussion or issues that we have in day-to-day life. So, it is really nice. And Prabhuji said it should be in mode of goodness. So, mode of goodness basically mostly in the morning time, right? So, mostly in our in our practical life, our personal life, we face like hurrying for Mangal Arati. Like always, we reach temple 2, 3, 4 minutes late only. So how we should schedule in morning time?
You can schedule maybe 4:30 to 5:30 would be a good time, Brahma Muhurat. The days are divided into a mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, but one can be in goodness even at night. The night is usually meant to be mode of ignorance, but one can be in goodness even at night. So whatever time is available or uh, mutually agreeable. The word is mutually agreeable. Suppose you say 8 o'clock in the evening and Prabhuji says 9 o'clock, or if you come to a midpoint or something, mutually agreeable. Once it is set aside, then ensure that your phone calls, your other things are that that's how we show it is exclusively. I respect that this is a scheduled time. In this, we don't want to entertain anything else. To add a little more for the goodness, what it basically means to be in goodness means we are to be in open mind. Coming for a discussion means we are coming with an open mind. As soon as the first point comes, which appears like an attack, this, the other person immediately defense mechanism is ready. The defense mechanism is immediately ready. So discussion means there is an etiquette for discussion also. Prabhuji or whatever the husband mein to nahi hoga, husband mein. So in the discussion itself, we are saying, first let me talk about, I have to talk four things. I have 4 points to talk about. Once I complete, then it's your turn. But when we don't have that etiquette, what happens? You start one point, the other person starts attacking or defending. And then you never get to reach to your second point only. The discussions goes into such a tangential, so-called transcendental, in so many deviant ways that you feel second point बोलना ही नहीं है मेरे को. Then again the other partner asks, but then you said you had 4 points. You said नहीं रहने दो. एक में ये हाल है. 4 बोलेंगे तो सुने नहीं मिलेगा. So etiquette. I have 4 points to convey. Or if you feel you are not so systematic and organized, you can say, I need half an hour to convey. Half an hour, mic बंद रखो. सिर्फ कान खुला रखो. Let me speak. Sometimes there can be a fight. Who will first? Who will speak first? You may have to come to a midpoint. I have 2 points to share. You have 2 points to share. I'll speak half an hour. You speak half an hour. And after that, we'll again give time. Or it's always good to, at the end. Open mind mode of goodness means after the person has finished, we ask anything more. Just like when we serve prasadam, we ask, right? Anything more? Similarly, when we are receiving whatever the feedback or comment is, anything more? First, at least listen, sort out, and dealing is further things. When we are not even ready to listen, it means we are not even ready for diagnosis. We are not even ready for diagnosis. Medicine कहाँ से आएगा? So schedule it, open mind. We can be goodness in goodness even at night. Whatever time suits mutually agreeable. Open-minded. Time for both person to speak without interruption, without defense mechanism. Let's put it down. And then other person gets a chance. Is that okay?
At least you can chant in goodness that day to discuss at night. So that we get all, the strength to whatever Prabhuji mentioned the points. And it's an evolution. It will not happen overnight. Not that we heard today and from tomorrow discussions are peaceful. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a journey. It's an evolution. So you have to give that scope also to each other. कि बाबा पहली बार 4 पॉइंट के बदले 2 ही डिस्कस हुए तो we are much better. Don't become disappointed. You are much better because earlier you would not even discuss one point together. Right? So give yourself time, give the other partner the time.
To add to that, sometimes even after the discussion, when fights happen, that's an indication we are not able to sort it amongst ourselves. That's when we need to seek external help. We need to, it's time for consultation. As simple as that. It's time for consultation. So first step is let's try to sort it within ourselves. Second step, let's try to sort it within the family. Third step, whoever is ready to take our case. Please understand, solving family matters is a huge issue depending on the issues sorting out. Think about it. Two people are not able to sort it out amongst themselves. A third person comes, and the third person is expected to understand both of them, both their needs, both their aspirations. And then if something you tell to one person, other person feels biased. You see how much balancing has to be done. If it is sorted out within ourselves, that's the first best thing. For that, discuss in goodness, open mind, exclusive time, all that, and plus etiquette of I can speak, you can speak. Second step, discuss within the family. If the husband and wife are not able to solve in your own family, your parents or in-laws, with whomever both feel comfortable. If then also it is not solved, and if you are interested to get it solved, intelligence means to seek help, consult. In case somebody is interested in my case, welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Mataji. Thanks for this lecture. Many a times when women speak, it's not what they speak. There is a hidden meaning behind that. That's the biggest challenge. And I read few books which says, so how to understand the hidden meaning behind what she's saying? It's not something which is very obvious, especially for men.
I can also answer, but it is because she's a woman better that she answers.
Yeah, this is a special feature of a woman. Let me accept it.
उसको सिद्धि बोलते हैं.
सिद्धि बट वो सिद्धि को अगर अच्छे से यूज किया, विश्वामित्र की तरह गड़बड़ नहीं किया, तो वी आर ब्लेस्ड, पीपल अराउंड अस आर ब्लेस्ड. बट अगर उसको गलत चीज में यूज किया, तो यस, इट क्रिएट्स मोर प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वुमेन आर समटाइम्स, ही आल्सो सेज, समझ में नहीं आता है क्या करने का. So it's very much part of the problem. It's very much part of current day-to-day experiences that we have. All I can say is, maybe he'll answer better, but all I can say is, when men have that complaint, let women be more transparent. Right? We need to practice that, I mean, we come up with that complicated consciousness, but let's try to be as clear as possible. Let's be transparent. Let's stand up to what we say. Right? So that's our quota of working, and we can add much more better.
Actually, on a more serious note, we should not take these statements very verbatim. When we hear the scriptures, a woman's heart is, of course, sometimes a woman themselves are quoting it. A woman's heart is as sharp as a razor's knife. And like Shankar Pandit would say that, do not trust a politician and a woman. So let's not take those statements and apply it for people around us. That's a generic statement. Not that it is totally false, but whether it is men or women, when they take to devotional service, they are also going through a level of purification. Then when we apply generic statements on them, I would actually say it's a great insult. It's very condescending. use statements like women are less intelligent, or no, we cannot trust women. It's a very generic statement. In fact, it can be argued. Somebody is interested, we can discuss. But we should not apply these generic statements, especially with our near and dear ones. It's very detrimental for our family advancement. And when you say that generally they have something hidden motive, ask them. It's not that every time they speak, there is a purport behind it. Right? It's not that every time there is something hidden. Sometimes it may be based on whatever inclinations are there, but that cannot be made generic for every statement. And especially when we start evaluating like that, when we have suspicion like that, it's very, very detrimental for the growth in family life.
And at the same time, when somebody actually has that problem, they need to work on it. That there's no other solution to this. But not that all women are made like that, because everybody is, as we know, Kapha Vata Pitta, we know Rajo Sattva Tamo. Similarly, there are many women who have much more better clarity than men. And there are many men who have many more hidden agendas, like Shakuni, like Ravana, and even women like Manthara. But by nature, and if you put all of it together, then the Jiva, the woman, Jiva is Prakriti, right? Right? So we all have it, but yes, more often we come across such examples where women are so confused themselves that they don't understand what they are speaking, what they are saying, and like he says, you are confused and you confuse me also. So it happens, that's the way we are made. It's like children. Can you blame children saying, why are you not very clear with your goal of life? Can you blame children? Why are you so restless? That's how they are made. Can the children blame Papa? Why are you so direct? Why are you so straightforward? Why are you always calculating money whenever Mama asks you something? That's how you are made. So better to accept each other as long as there is no heinous motive behind it. There's no cunning motive behind it. If it's their innocence, if it's their ability or inability, quote unquote, let's become smart enough to deal with their inability. That's taking responsibility. When they cannot handle themselves, it's we who have to become more mature to handle them. If you have that clarity, leverage on it, exercise it, just like we deal with children. I hope that touches your question at least. Thank you.
My question is like how to bring a healthy balance between the responsibilities to be handled. Like you nicely touched upon the point that we go out, we work office, and then we suddenly believe that there is Maya outside. And then you come inside and suddenly realize with the mataji that there's a lot of Maya inside itself, and says not that you take more responsibility. So how do we balance?
Firstly, Prabhuji, learn to, it all begins with clarity and acceptance. When you accept each other's natures, when you know each other's abilities, when you have evaluated it, it becomes much more easier to boil it down to realistic expectations. Like, I don't know your personal situation, but individual situations could be varying from person to person. When we know our spouse limit is this, then we'll not expect only beyond that point. Like when I said, when the husband comes back home, then everything should be like, like a Vaikuntha atmosphere. But for everyone, it may not work. It's a principle. We can strive to work towards it, but not necessarily perfect it. So we have to analyze each other's natures and see how much can my spouse take up more. And if she's taking up more, as you said, share more responsibilities, what's getting compromised? Are you prepared for it? If you want her to take up a particular service, but compromise on your dinner, are you ready for it? And if you want both of it, is she ready for it? Right? So we need to sit, talk, analyze, and some things, like he always says, what's on your plate, you have to eat it. That means what? हमारे नसीब में ऐसे personalities आए हैं एक दूसरे के लिए थोड़ा थोड़ा बदलने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं, पूरा हम कभी बदल नहीं सकते. अगर कोई रियली बहुत सिंसियर है, बहुत ही ऑनेस्ट है, साधना उसका सुपर डुपर एक्सीलेंट है, Krishna gives the strength from within to change. There are people who have changed a lot also, right? But it depends how seriously we have taken up the mission of transformation, right? The mission of transformation, how seriously we have taken it. And then it is possible to what you're saying, But till that point, you can always discuss and say, can we do this? And what will get compromised if you take up this? And then you have the clarity. And then she also has the clarity. Again, failures are part of journey. Once we say, okay, I will do it, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, 100%. So be prepared. There will be failures and commitments that we have taken, but you can work towards it. Like coming together, like she comes halfway, you come halfway, and then say, okay, maybe this will work out better. Okay, Prabhuji? And let's have realistic expectations and be clear of what you're ready to let go. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think we should end, Prabhuji. Everybody's prasad will also comes, everybody's like, get set, go.
Hare Krishna. So we can't thank enough Prabhuji and Mataji. Prabhuji yesterday, he had 8 hours of speaking, 8 hours of class. Today, he traveled all over Bangalore. First class he gave in the morning in South Bangalore temple. Second, he gave the Sunday feast in Sasadripuram. He's doing all Bangalore yatra. We can understand all Bangalore traffic. And then both of them, they have come down here, stretching and extending themselves to the max. And very beautifully, Prabhuji and Mataji, they said their decades of realizance, what they have gone through, and what they have seen amongst huge congregation, evolving congregation, and how we can really learn from that. Right? How we can evolve ourselves from the thin relationship to the transcendental relationship. How we can really beautifully evolve, right? Consciously cultivate our consciousness. So yes, we are there together. And yes, we have learned something today. Let's apply these couple of principles into our own life. We can share with the devotees what we have learned. And definitely we can make a better version of ourselves. As Prabhuji and Mati said, it's a journey. So let's once again thank loudly by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare. So before we proceed for Kirtan, followed by Prasadam, I would really like to thank our Lakshmi Mataji and Anand Prabhu for organizing the logistics, booking this hall, and taking care of so many things. We are grateful to Anand Prabhu, Mataji, and Ashwin. So let's thank them by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And our Satyajit Prabhu, who has been stretching himself a lot, coordinating for the prasadam and organizing the details. So I'd like to thank Satyajit Prabhu also by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So now let's sing and dance before we proceed to apply these principles in our own life. Hare Krishna. Let's sing and dance